Hello everyone, welcome to What If Ayanokoji Made Love with Honami Ichinose during Island Exam movie. Before we start, please go support Forsaken Prince for writing that awesome fanfic. This is the translated version I made. There will be some mistaken characters' gender, but of course Ayanokoji is a male. Unexpected info. Ayanokouji's POV. Being soaked in the rain, Ichinose and I take shelter in a cave that I found that is located in the upper region on the island. It is the 8th day of the 2-week special exam held on this uninhabited island, which makes it 6 days left for it to end. I then decided to change my gear. I plan to fasten my pace from moving from one block to another to gain the early bird points and grab first place in all events I will be taking part in. Yesterday, in the midst of a pouring rain, Nanis then finally confronted me. She used different types of martial arts to force me to fight back and vent all her hatred to the incident that happened to her childhood friend. But I didn't fight back. I continued dodging all her attacks while slowly giving her psychological warfare to force her to wake from her absurd revenge. Nanis is aware that I'm not the person she should blame. She's barking at the wrong tree and is dancing in the palm of Tsukuhiro's hand. When she's already physically exhausted and my mental attack already kicks in, I then give her the finishing blow. I told Nanis that no matter what method she will do, all of it will be futile in front of my eyes. I made her aware, no precisely, I forced her to be aware that I'm on a different level compared to the kid she's dealing with up till now. Nanis is nowhere on my level even if I'm not being serious, whether in academics, physical capabilities, manipulation, strategy, in everything. I wasn't called the White Room's masterpiece for nothing. After breaking Nanis's spirit, she leaned in the nearby tree, exhausted from her one-sided attack on me. She lay down there while hugging her knees, sulking for her failed attempt in forcing me to retire by purposely injuring me or possibly knocking me off during the fight. If that were to happen, I'm pretty sure Tsukuhiro would quickly take some measures so that any kind of investigation about my injuries would be dismissed and make Nanis the witness of the tragic made-up accident. A well-made plan indeed. There's also some hidden eyes in the bushes nearby, observing our confrontation. The probability of them carrying a recording tool is high, since any kind of resistance I'll make against Nanis will be recorded and put me into an edge. Having the knowledge about my true capabilities, Tsukuhiro lays a double-layered trap to somehow raise the chance of expelling me. The story of a boy assaulting a girl in any form will be more famous and believable than the story of a girl assaulting a boy. Such cases are lessened these days due to the law of giving empowerment to women, and me breaking such rules is an automatic expulsion, then sending me to a juvenile center where that man is patiently waiting for me so that I'll return to the White Room. Since Nanis's plan ended in a failure and me doing some counterattacks didn't happen. Whoever it may be, they then left without gaining anything from me. I'm not sure if they're part of all of this because Nanis didn't even take a glance at their direction. One thing for sure is that I'm surrounded by enemies and couldn't afford to let my guard down. What a life. Knowing that it's already safe, I then stretched out my hand to her. Nanis was bewildered at first. She couldn't believe that after all she had done I still reached out to her. I slowly explained that I understand her struggles. One precious friend that got nothing to do with all of this just because his father helped me to escape ended his life. That man's authority is too wide for a regular person to touch him. By graduating from the school, especially as a Class A student, it will be her stepping stone to seek her revenge, as long as the fire in her heart won't fade out. She can't let her precious friend's life be left in vain. Becoming a new leaf is also an option, but it won't happen for now. I'm pretty sure that I already planted in her mind that she owns me and will do her best to somehow return it. Erasing one enemy while gaining a new tool in my disposal, a win-win situation it is. Before she went back to her small group, I then asked her to investigate something for me in the first year. Giving her first task, our so-called partnership started. I'm gonna wait for her report to measure her capabilities in doing things. Either she'll be my spy, like Kei, that worked behind the scenes in the first years, or a leader figure, like Horikita, that I will manipulate to let her class in a decision for opposing some plan against me and misleading the other first-year leader. Depends on it. Understanding how she will operate, her focal point of view, range of connection, data extraction, pacing, all of it. I needed that knowledge to be able to use her full potential. Besides, Nanis is not a puppet that I can control freely. I don't know when she will bite me in the back, so it's best to use her as many times as possible. This afternoon, on my way to the assigned block that I received on my tablet, I then crossed thick bushes in the jungle of the island to take a detour. Stepping in an area where the towering grass and bushes is dense. I then heard footsteps behind. It was loud enough that even though it's still far from my location, I can hear it loud and clear. The person must be in a hurry, or it's only decoy to gain my attention there while the real attack is nearby. Who's crazy enough to go to this place where a single misstep will result in straining your ankle? I thought if this is indeed an attack, then it's a different story. I turned around while preparing a defensive stance. I then focused on my 7 senses, giving me a complete 360-degree view of my surroundings. Furthermore, I observe the grass moving from left to right as the person is going straight to me, a sound of twigs breaking in the ground, meaning they step on it. As the mystery person comes closer to my current location, a strand of long pink hair then reflects in the sun rays. There's also the strong odor of a citrus perfume in the air. Wait, there's only a few students I know that have this color of hair and wear this type of perfume. Don't tell me, it's her. After stepping out of the multi-layered wilderness, there I saw the figure of the person that crossed my mind. It was Ichinose Hanami. She placed her hands into her knees while lowering her upper body, slowly gasping for air. She is sweating bullets that her PE t-shirt is drenched, revealing the color of the bra that she wore. Wait, there's no time to think about that stuff. I must know the reason why she goes to this particular place, since it's too hard to pass through. She only has her tablet without carrying anything aside from it. I didn't feel the presence of her small group behind, no sounds, smells nor shadows, which means Ichinose comes alone in this place, all by herself. Before I can ask her. Ichinose then raised her head and found me. I didn't have the chance to even greet her as she hurriedly ran towards me and hugged me tightly, burying her face into my chest. I also felt her hard breathing and cold tears falling from her eyes and my body. Why is she acting like this? Ichinose, what's wrong? I asked. After a few minutes in that position, Ichinose then let go of the hug, she clutched my shirt and raised her head. There she looked me straight in the eye. Her eyes are full of horror, it's not the same eyes that I witnessed the time she goes into my room, this is on a different scale of fear. Why is this? Something must have happened to Ichinose for her to act like this, don't tell me her whole group was annihilated and suffered from the same fate that Shinohara's group had. Her eyes are pleading for me to be as safe as possible. She must use their points to find me using the technology in the tablet and then rush here to warn me. Good job, Ichinose, but there's nothing to be worried about, I won't let anyone expel me no matter what method I use. I will fulfill my promise to you and meet you 1 year later. I then grab both of her shoulders, then shake her carefully to bring her back from reality. Ichinose, what happened? Ichinose muttered, huh. Phew, I'm glad that it's successful. As she opened her mouth, ready to release the words in her throat. Ichinose suddenly lost consciousness, making her body almost fall. Good thing is that I caught both of her shoulders before it happened. She must be physically drained in this exam. I then placed my one arm behind her to support her back as I slowly bent my knees to reach her lower body. When Ichinose is already in a comfortable position, I then slowly hoist her and decide to find a place to lay her body to rest. But suddenly dark grey clouds covered the azure sky, I then looked up and saw its tears dropping one by one. It even landed right into my face and the person I'm carrying. Of all freaking time, why right now? When the rain started to pour, I then walked the place slowly, finding a shelter for us to shed from this dreadful rain, while having in mind to not drop her as necessary as possible. After a few trips in the thick jungle, I found a certain spot that is dry and safe, it is a small cave. I then dragged my muddy shoes there and soaking wet my body. Even though I'm carrying her so that her shoes and pants are not stained from the mud, she is not safe from the heavenly water that is dropping from the sky. Making her breathtaking skin behind her clothes visible from my naked eyes. I must be the luckiest guy on the planet right now. Most boys will probably kill me if they know about this. I swear to God I didn't do this on purpose. Arriving at the entrance of the cave, I bent my knees to make sure that my head wouldn't crash into any undetected stalactites of rocks growing from the cave's ceiling. Upon finding a flat surface, I carefully put down the unconscious Ichinose in the ground. I then picked the hard objects in my backpack and put the soft bag behind her head, serving it as a pillow. I was thinking of placing my dry jersey into her body to warm her from the cold, but hesitated since it's futile, as her clothes are already soaking wet. But I still put it on her anyway, at least she won't freeze from the cold. There's no way I will embrace her without her consent, not to mention the condition she's in. It's not also a matter of life and death, like we're in the middle of winter or something like that. Furthermore, there's no way that I will change a girl's clothes. I also checked her pulse by looking at the wristwatch and found out that she's fine for now. Phew, thanks, I still don't have the courage to give her CPR in the worst case scenario. After that I kept my distance from her, then leaned beside the rock while waiting for Ichinose to wake up. The afternoon drowsiness almost got the hold of me, but I forced myself to not fall asleep. I don't know what might happen if I leave an unconscious girl unattended. And if something might happen to Ichinose, I will be ashamed to face her again, but I will make sure that the person who did it won't be able to see the sunrise again. If Ichinose's group is really annihilated, just like Shinohara's group that I witnessed, then there's only two groups are capable of doing such things. First is the unexposed white rumor by creating chaos in the exam. It will force the group members to stick together and avoid moving in a different route as much as possible. It will open more space to ambush me without any witnesses. The second is Nagumo. This guy might not be that violent if compared to Ryuin and Housen, but I still haven't known what else he's hiding. All I'm aware of is that this guy plays dirty and uses an early and wide-range method to execute his plan. Asahina senpai even warned me to be careful since according to her, Nagumo have some sort of hidden plan, so it's possible that he will slowly take care of the potential candidates like Ichinose's small group that will get in his way in gaining first place in this exam. What a bastard. Nagumo must be itching to know my capabilities if he were going to ambush me in this special exam. If that's the case, I will play his game. I'm also quite curious about the student who controls the whole third year. I'm also hoping that Nanis will finish her task fast so that I will prepare myself for the large-scale attack from the first year. There's also the presence of Tsukahiro and the white rumor that is a thorn in my side. Overall, I'm surrounded from all sides and I'm quite in a predicament. I sighed. This is quite exhausting. Complaining of the current state I'm in, I then heard a low mutter on the other side. The origin of the sounds comes from Ichinose herself. Despite her low voice, it still manages to echo in the place since we're inside the cave. She must be dreaming. Ayanokouji-kun. Wait, is Ichinose dreaming about me? He must be Karefu Fall. It must be about earlier. I then stop reacting and listen to her carefully to gain information. White. What the? Room? How did she know? I then stared at her sleeping body while I'm losing my cool, pondering on how she knew of its existence. And methods to force her to not say a single soul about it. What should I do? Dream and threat. Ichinose's pav. Ha. I was rushing deep in the dense dark forest, running away as much as possible from the unknown person that is chasing me. Even though my vision is vague, I continue moving forward to find a single light ray of hope that will save me from this current dilemma. Having stepped on this rocky ground for a quite long time now, my foot started to hurt. My stamina is slowly draining as I'm heavily breathing, gasping for air. I don't know the exact reason why I'm running away from the stranger, nor the reason why he's chasing me. All I know is that I need to run and just run. Thinking about all of it, I didn't notice the large tree root that was blocking the path, so I tripped over it, making my body come crashing to the surface of the ground. Arg. I then pinned my arm on the hard surface and then pushed it, forcing my heavy body to get up. But before it happened, the person tailing me caught up to me. He grabbed my shoulder and turned me around by force. After that, he places his palm in my mouth, covering it, preventing me from shouting. I was laying on the ground, helpless, as the mystery person straddles me. He then picks something inside his pocket and finds out that it was masking tape. Tears then started to form in my moist eyes. I'm begging for him to stop this cruelty, but the person didn't care. He just looked me in the eye, as if I'm an object that should be disposed of. Help. I then suddenly raised my body, frightened to the core, of which I thought that it happened, but turns out that it was a nightmare. Phew. When I put down my arm that was clutching my chest earlier, I felt a hard and rough substance touching my palm. Looking down, I saw a flat ground made of rock, then switching my gaze above, I also saw another rock formation, but this time, it's a ceiling. This is not my tent, isn't it? My mind suddenly runs wild. I just recently woke up from a bad dream and now I'm here, inside a silent yet unknown place, where I don't have a bit of an idea on the reason why I'm here though. In my peripheral view, I noticed a shadow that is close to the entrance of the place. I was gonna shout, but didn't because the color of the hair is familiar. I immediately know that it's a boy just by seeing his muscular naked upper body. Wait. Naked. Upon knowing about that important info, my body voluntarily moved in a hastened pace, checking if something was missing or out of place. I know deep in my mind that if something happened to me like the thing that I'm thinking right now, I'm gonna lose my face and will be ashamed for the rest of my life. How could I let myself be so defenseless? Still checking every part of my body, the person that is also inside the cave then moves his head and looks at me. I then quickly froze and. Good afternoon, Ichinose. Wait, this voice is familiar. Slowly raising my head, I then saw the face of the person that I'm expecting to. As usual, he wears that poker face of his and a pair of bored eyes. Ayanokouji-kun. Despite knowing that it is indeed him, I still didn't know what to say. He didn't do something to me, right? Calm down, I didn't do anything to you, okay? Hearing his reassurance, I was relieved that it wasn't the case, but still I got to ask him about it first. Then why are you naked? I mean, where's your clothes? I'm confident that Ayanokouji is not that type of person, but why is he not wearing a top despite the cold atmosphere? Since he's not guilty of anything as he said he is, his face doesn't have any weird reaction and just moves his gaze towards a certain direction. I also followed it and there I saw something. It was a PE t-shirt hanging on the rock. So that's why he's not wearing one. Then why am I here? Just by looking at the shadow of the place, I can tell that it's almost 6 in the evening. I was supposed to be together with Shibata-kun in this type of hour, helping him set up both of our tents and preparing our dinner for the night. Then why am I even here? I really needed to know Ayanokouji-kun's answer, the events that happened in the morning, this afternoon, until the time that I arrived here, in other words everything. Even if I will have to force him, I need to know. Wait. Why am I acting like this anyway? Why did I become wary of him all of a sudden? You don't remember? He asked. Honestly, I don't really remember a thing, that's why I just tilted my head, sending him my response. Well, I don't have any idea about what happened before you found me, so let's just say that you're strolling along in the forest all by yourself and suddenly run towards me, then you collapse. Huh? I run towards Ayanokouji-kun. Why? For a moment, I then started to recall everything that happened before our meeting. Flashback. In the morning. I was just walking towards the port to have the school fix my broken wristwatch that I accidentally broke when crossing the river. Then the acting director and Shiba-sensei are walking side by side, talking about a subject that I didn't expect to be confidential. Since there's a distance between us, I didn't clearly hear their conversation. But there are some words that catch my attention. Ayanokouji. Plan. I too. Expel. White room. Masterpiece. Monster. I then let out a loud huh. Hearing my voice, both of them turned around and then saw me. I didn't know what crossed my mind that time, that I hurriedly ran fast towards the other direction. Since I got a few distance to both of them and combined with my running speed, I got ahead of them at first. But it didn't last long until they slowly caught up with me. I know that they're already adults, but that's too fast. Putting all my preserved energy into both of my legs, I then again recover the distance between me and them. I need to find a place to hide. Still looking around the green thick surroundings while continuing to run from time to time, I didn't notice the large tree root that was blocking my path. Flop. My whole body then falls down in a slow manner, I then quickly curls my body, shielding my face from crashing into the rocky ground. Rolls. After rolling over a few times, I then arrive on a flat surface of the ground. Ouch. Unluckily, the time that I tripped over. My body came crashing into a small rolling hill, making me fall towards the bottom. The pain that I felt, still running everywhere in my body, but quickly vanished when I saw a small hole in the place that I think is enough for my body to fit inside. I gotta hide. Forcing my exhausted body to move, I then began crawling slowly into that certain place. Ha ha ha. Fitting myself to that narrowed place, I then hid myself from the pursuers. Controlling my breathing, I inhale and then exhale slowly so that they won't hear and will find me in the hiding spot. I beg please. Loud footsteps were heard in the top, there's no mistaking it that those are from Shiba-sensei and acting director Tsukahiro. Just by listening to it, I can tell that they halted for a moment and then rushed towards the other direction. Phew, I guess I'm safe for now. I didn't exactly know what got into me that I suddenly came rushing into the deep of the forest. But I'm glad that it was the case, because the time that I looked behind me, I saw that both of them wore a serious look, like wanting to catch me no matter what it cost. My body shivers a bit when I see those eyes. For them to act like that, even though I only accidentally heard a bit of their secret plan. Then I can deduce that it must be something confidential, that no strangers must know even a tiny bit of it. What's worse is that Ayanokouji-kun's name was mentioned with it. Opening my tablet, I quickly spent 1 point searching for his location. Back to the current time. For a moment I got the feeling of not wanting to tell him about the things that I know, because maybe I just misheard it and might affect him in this special exam. Sharing an unsure information that was acquired in an unexpected way and by an exhausted mind can lead into disasters. So I steeled my resolve to not share the things that I know for now, till the time comes that the whole story will come to light. Investigating something dangerous is not my forte, there's also the chance that Ayanokouji-kun might be involved when I heard of an unfamiliar word. White room and terrifying one. Monster. I forcefully upturned my lips, showing a smile to him while saying a lie. Oh yeah, I remember now. I kinda lost Shibata-kun on our way towards our next designated spot because I can no longer hold my him, you know. By averting my gaze and showing a bit of gestures. I can confidently say that Ayanokouji-kun will get what I mean. Unless he still is, then I will say that nature is calling me. I noticed that he opened his mouth and nodded. Phew, I'm glad that my silly acting worked. I was planning to leave this place and get in contact with Shibata-kun, then investigate acting director Tsukahiro and Shiba-sensei further. Ayanokouji-kun then asked something, stopping me from going. Lies like that won't work on me, Ichinose. Huh? What is this? This is the first time that I've heard him using a tone like this. It's heavy and carries a tense pressure. So my suspicion is right. Ayanokouji-kun is somehow involved with it. What do you mean, Ayanokouji-kun? I need to calm down as much as possible. Maybe he's just testing me and won't push further if I continue insisting that I don't know a thing. Not to sound like a creep Ichinose, but you're easy to read, like an open book. I can confidently tell that something big happened, that's why you came rushing to find me. I then gulped. Why is Ayanokouji-kun acting like this? Is this his true nature? If yes, does it mean that the Ayanokouji-kun that I know is just an illusion? So you no longer trust me, Ichinose, is that what you want to say? This aura, this atmosphere, this feeling, this is not him. I just froze there while staring at his pair of eyes, those usual bored eyes were changed into something scary. Like staring at a bottomless pit, that is my honest thought about it right now. Third person's POV. The whole afternoon has passed. But even the shadow of the student, Ichinose Honami, was not found by his group member, Shibata SM. Not knowing about the reason for her sudden disappearance, Shibata grew worried and started asking anyone he met in the area. Hi, have you seen Ichinose-san somewhere this afternoon? He asked. Nope. Someone replied. He then found another new student and asked the same question once again. Hey, if you have time to spare. Have you seen Ichinose-san somewhere this afternoon? The person just tilted his head and began walking to his destination. Ichinose-san, where are you? Before he will lose all hope. Shibata then started walking towards the starting point, carrying both of their backpacks, one owned by the missing Ichinose. After almost an hour of walking. Still out of his breath. Shibata then goes to the open tent of the second year's faculty to ask for help in finding the missing person. Excuse me, Hoshinomiya-sensei. Shibata then called out to his homeroom teacher, who's looking at herself using a hand mirror. Oh hey, Shibata-kun. What can I offer such cutie boy? He then lightly scratched his head, embarrassed of how his sensei called him. Before he got swayed by her charm, Shibata quickly reported the problem. I got an important thing to report about sensei. Ichinose-san has gone missing. Hoshinomiya, who's about to apply her pink-colored lipstick, dropped it due to the shock. Wait, you're serious? Shibata strongly nodded. Yes, sensei. Hoshinomiya no longer gives a response to Shibata. She quickly grabbed her walkie-talkie and announced to her other faculty members about the unexplained issue. Attention all faculty and staff. Before she will continue in saying the announcement, one of her batchmates, Chabashira, steals the walkie-talkie and calms down the situation. The announcement is not yet finalized, please wait for further update. After saying it, she slapped Hoshinomiya's shoulder, then gave her a scolding. Control yourself Chie-chan, we haven't heard the whole story of the incident from Shibata-kun. We can't afford to announce a half-baked report that will spark chaos in the exam. Hearing her rival's stern reply, Hoshinomiya pouted, acting cute. Hupped. Tabashira then shifted her gaze to the student in front. Now Shibata-kun, kindly narrate what happened exactly. Shibate then released a heavy breath. Calming down himself so that he won't mess up in giving the report. On our way to the next designated spot at 11 AM in the noon. Me and Ichinose-san crossed around a river, then she accidentally tripped over, smashing her wristwatch to the riverbed. He paused, we quickly checked it and found out that a part of it didn't function, the tracking signal to be exact. Since it was the case, I proposed that we will miss the designated area to go back in here, but Ichinose-san insisted on going back alone, and till now she hasn't gone back and I couldn't find her location through the tablet. I also go to the trouble of asking anyone I meet but get the same answer, that they haven't seen Ichinose-san. Tabashira writes the important parts in her notepad while Hoshinomiya is listening to Shibata thoroughly. Okay, I will do the report now. Tabashira then turned on the walkie-talkie and started the finalized report. Attention all faculty and staff, a student named Ichinose Honami, girl, class 2C, was reported missing at 11 AM this noon. The last sighting of the missing girl was on her way to the starting point to fix her wristwatch, but she didn't arrive there and she hasn't been found yet till now. Any reports about this missing person must be submitted in the main faculty tent as soon as possible, all students must remain calm and stay safe. Acting Director Tsukahiro also heard of the announcement and finally knows the real identity of the student that they're chasing and the reason why they couldn't find her. So my hunch is right, it is indeed Ichinose-san. For her wristwatch to be broken at such a time, luck is on her side. Shiba-kun used the GPS tracking device a lot earlier, but the students that we find don't have the same color of hair from the one we're chasing. Aside from Ayanokouji-kun's classmate Sakura-san, we ran after we lost sight of Ichinose-san. My gut tells me that Sakura-san isn't the one, her reaction showed surprise not shock. She also has Akito-kun and Haruka-san on her side, lessening her rate to be the suspect. Now what shall I do with this Ichinose-san, maybe some little threat will do. When Chabashira is done in stating the report, Shibata then say his gratitude to the teachers and leave. Thank you for your help, Chabashira-sensei and Hoshinomiya-sensei. I just hope that nothing bad happened to Ichino-san and she will be found soon. Hoshinomiya then wrapped her hands on Shibata's arm. Don't worry Shibata-kun, the school will do their very best to find her. Take a rest for now, okay, leave Ichino-chan to us. I gotta go sensei, again thank you for the announcement. Shibata bowed down to them and walked towards a certain someone's location. Bye-bye. Back to the cave. Ichino's pav. Still staring at Ayanokoji-kun's void pair of eyes. He then stood up and started walking towards me. My face felt a cold yet smooth sensation as his fingertips were running from my forehead into my chin. This situation kinda feels familiar, isn't it, Ichino? You and I, only the two of us, inside a certain place. Coincidentally, it happened from time to time, but aside from the spot, there's another thing that is different now. This time you didn't trust me. Why is that, Ichino? Does the thing that happened to you earlier have something to do with me? Say it, Ichino. Indeed, as Ayanokoji-kun mentioned. This type of scenarios already happened between us a lot of time now. In the cruise ship, my room, in the tree, his room, the garden, another time again inside his room, and now here, in this narrowed space. Aside from the cruise ship, most of that mentioned time is when I'm vulnerable and Ayanokoji-kun is always by my side, helping me to stand up and fight. But this time, it's the reverse. My heart is telling me that Ayanokoji-kun is in danger, but my mind thinks of the opposite. His authoritative aura, his nasty pair of eyes, so aggressive behavior, all of this is new from the person named Ayanokoji that I once knew. Despite all of the strange actions he showed right now, I still couldn't forget the last time I went inside his room. It was an unforgettable moment in my life, the way he handled my problem, the way he stopped me from trembling just by putting his thumb into my lips, the way he gives me hope and lights up my path. If not for him, I might be a goner by now. He must have his own reason for doing this to me. I just hope so. I was gonna spill the beans when his fingers suddenly dropped into my shirt's collar, attempting to open it inside. What are you thinking? Slapping his hands away from me, I was planning to run, but he caught my arms and pinned it into the wall. If you won't say anything, I will do the stuff that you're thinking what I'm thinking right now, Ichino. Nobody won't believe that I did it to you cause I'm aware that your wristwatch is broken, and besides, there will be no witnesses even if you report me, since no one saw me being together with you. Why is Ayanokoji-kun saying those horrible things right now? There's no way that he'll do it to me, right? But seeing how serious he is, maybe he will. My eyes then began to water, small tears were forming and then slid slowly into my cheeks. There's no need to resort to such a thing, sob, is this why they call him a monster? I then opened my trembling mouth, ready to blurt the words that I was holding back in my throat. Acting director Tsukahiro and Shai Shiba-sensei are planning something too, Ayanokoji-kun. I heard them talking about it, then Chai paused and started crying, upon recalling the time when the pursuers were chasing me. He then let go of my arm and unexpectedly embraced me, wrapping my whole body by his arms, giving me a warm hug. It's fine now, Ichino. I already understand everything. Sorry for threatening you like that, just leave them to me, and of course, I'll ensure to protect you. He spoke those gentle words to me, while caressing my back. Say Ayanokoji-kun, just who are you? Declaration of war. Morning. The sun rose in the wide blue sky, shining up the whole island, awakening every tired individual in their deep slumber. The whole new day has arrived, another morning for all the participants in the current special exam to struggle for only one purpose. To gain enough points for the chances of being part of the top 3 in the final rankings. Winning the hard and complex battle royale, which is played by every student and aims to be considered as the best among the rest. Waking up from his light sleep, Ayanokoji raised his body and found the sleeping Ichino on his side. He then recalled how stubborn Ichino was last night. Come on Ayanokoji-kun, get inside the tent already. She insisted. I told you I'm fine here. I still stayed inside the cave, not wanting to sleep with her. But it's freezing outside and I don't want you to catch a cold. She makes her index fingers kiss each other while saying those. And I already give you too much trouble, so this is the least I can do. She said in a meek voice. I sighed. What does she mean by that? Doesn't wanting to continue this silly argument until midnight, I decided to follow and went inside the tent, together with Ichino. I have enough problems for today, I need some rest. Also there will be no breaking the rules because Ichino can't be traced due to her broken wristwatch. Unless she'll talk about this, which I highly doubt, then we're both in trouble. Besides, we're not gonna do anything else, just gotta fall asleep inside. He sighed. Paste. Seeing the face of the peacefully sleeping Ichino. Ayanokoji forwards his arm and gently caresses her soft white cheek. She's still sound asleep, huh? He continues touching her. While his pair of handsome brown eyes are looking at her with care, without him noticing. The tickling sensation he created causes the other person to wake up. When Ichinose opened her eyes, the first thing she saw was Ayanokouji's face. But surprisingly, it's not the same usual poker face, but entirely something else. "Good morning," he said. "Morning Ayanokouji-kun. Am I dreaming or did I just see Ayanokouji-kun smile?" she asked while rolling her hand in her eyes. Ayanokouji tilted his head, unable to understand the thing Ichinose had said. "You must be seeing things," he responded and then went outside. Knowing that there's no way Ayanokouji will ever smile even by force. Ichinose just released a soft chuckle, feeling silly yet genuinely happy about it. Hee, yep, I'm just dreaming, but it's a great one. On the way to the starting point. The time both of them were finished having their breakfast and disassembling the tent. Ayanokouji then accompanied Ichinose to the starting point. She insisted on going to the starting point alone, like what she'd done to Shibata at first, telling Ayanokouji that she cannot afford him to miss any more given designated area or else he'll receive points deduction. But he only let her words pass through one of his ears to the other, not listening to any of it and just continued walking beside her. Knowing that Ayanokouji only ignored her, she then grabbed his wrist, stopping him from moving. "Please Ayanokouji-kun, I can go on my own." Her eyes plead that she can handle this by herself. He then turned around and stared at her blue eyes while analyzing the possible scenarios. Ayanokouji didn't doubt Ichinose's overall capabilities. But this time, the enemy is out of her league, even the likes of Ryuin are not a match for the acting director Tsukishiro and Shiba-sensei. He clearly knows that those two are waiting for her arrival. Going there alone or even together with Ayanokouji is like going into the heart of the enemy's lair. Full of dangerous entities. It's possible that they already prepared some threat on her because no matter how much she wanted to avoid the acting director, Ichinose needs to report the whole situation to him since he's the highest authority in the school. Ayanokouji then put his free arm into her shoulder and say, "This is for your own sake, Ichinose. Please understand." Recalling their conversation yesternight, Ichinose then surrendered and let Ayanokouji follow to her destination. "Oh, okay." Starting point. Upon setting foot there, several gazes landed on the two. The looks of being concerned, happy, surprised, worried and shocked was written to the faces of those that are aware of Ichinose's disappearance yesterday. The classmate of her, named Amakura, then quickly ran towards her the moment she realized that it is indeed Ichinose. "I missed you, Ichinose-chan." The two girls are hugging each other tightly. Doesn't want to interrupt their reunion, Ayanokouji then goes ahead without Ichinose to meet a certain someone. "Where were you yesterday? Everyone was crazy worried about you know." When they let go of the hug, Amakura then started nagging on Ichinose. She was about to answer, but Amakura continues. "Shibata-kun was exhausted from finding you everywhere, he asked random people about your whereabouts, but he didn't gain anything, aside from no idea. Chihiro-san was crying all night thinking that something bad has happened to you, she even almost spent 5 consecutive points to use the GPS search, good thing that we stopped her." She paused. Also Hoshinomiya-sensei told me that she's having a hard time falling asleep yesterday and was about to send the school's chopper just to find you. And before Amakura will say once again, Ichinose then hugged her and whispered to her ears. "I'm sincerely sorry for all the trouble I brought to everyone and thank you for all the concerned, it makes me happy." The two then hugged each other again while tears were rolling down to both of their cheeks. Ayanokouji's POV. Walking together with a missing person, it's normal to gain the attention to everyone that saw us in the area. They must have lot of questions crossing in their mind right now. Like why of all people, it has to be me that is accompanying Ichinose. Where does she went yesterday and the reason why they couldn't track her? Where does she spends the night? Is it together with me? Or alone by herself? But I'm pretty sure that she won't be pressure about the interrogation from them. We already talked about it yesternight and she's already prepared for it. Aside from the acting director Tsukihiro, the shadow of Nagumo is nowhere to be found, so I can say that she's safe for now. That bastard won't miss any mistakes from the given answer and will cut down every escape routes he'll find so that the truth will be unraveled. He also has his way of words, like how he persuaded Ichinose to share her secret to him. We were gonna go straight to the open tent of the acting director to give the report, which I'm pretty sure Tsukihiro will first shove me and talk to her alone, then called me after he successfully threatened her. Good thing that one of her classmates, named Amakura, found Ichinose and hurriedly ran towards her. I then take the opportunity to talk with Tsukihiro first, before he will have the chance to implement his plan. After taking a short walk in the place, I then found a large open tent, which is considered as the office of the acting director. Several teachers, including Shiba-sensei, are busy doing their usual paperworks in the long table and checking the computer. Noticing my figure, Tsukahiro and Shiba-sensei stopped doing their work and raised their head looking at me completely. Tsukahiro then announced something to the teachers as all of them quickly dispersed, going into another place carrying their paperworks. The last person that left was Shiba-sensei. He first gave me a serious look before departing. So the eyes already reported what happened, huh? Well, it's no surprising about it. Tsukahiro already sees that Nanis will inevitably failed, that's why he sent someone to spy on us. Seeing that he's already alone, I then started walking towards him. The time I'm already in front of him. He first sends me a greeting, wearing that fake warm smile of his. "Good morning, Ayanokouji-kun. How's the exam going? You've been doing well, aren't you?" This question are fitted for a person that cares truly about the students' well-being. This must be the reason why that man deployed him here and act as the acting director of the school after successfully trapping director Sakayanagi. Since he wanted to stall enough time until Ichinose's arrival. I then showed my true eyes on him. Let's cut down to the chase, Tsukahiro. Ichinose already spoiled your plan, so I can easily create countermeasures to prevent it, but I know that you won't accept defeat that easily. I'm aware that you're already plotting something behind everyone's back, mostly on her, so I'm here to bargain. He then let out a weird smile. Tsukahiro might not expect that the White Room's masterpiece to say those words to him. The me that they know are cruel, apathetic, calculating, follows through logic and especially the winning mentality. Those eyes are becoming nastier as time goes by, huh? It was supposed to be a beautiful color of Hansel brown, but you and your father made a new definition of it. He paused. Ahem, excuse me. Then stated. I'm gonna show myself to the mentioned place without bringing anyone or some sort of hidden plan. I'm gonna deal with the both of you head on. So in exchange, don't ever try to drag Ichinose. If I'll heard that you even touch a single thread of her hair, then the deal is off. The time he heard about all of it, his weird smile was changed into something terrifying. He might be thinking right now that he found my weakness, which is Ichinose, that if they'll ever cornered her, I will come rushing to save her, but it's not. I already planned something in case that they'll set their fangs on her, with or without Tsukahiro accepting the deal. I can't afford to trust this man's word wholeheartedly. And I'm pretty sure that he's also thinking the same. Showing his true eyes, which is similar to the professor's in the White Room. He give his response. So you're willing to win the battle but lose the war. How nice to you. Does being able to taste freedom for a year changes your way of thinking, isn't that what you mean? If your father will heard about this, I'm pretty sure he will be disappointed for wasting time as well as effort to bring you back. Tsukahiro release a tch sound, mocking the small changes he observes on me. But he got a mistake that needs to be correct. Who mentioned about losing? I paused, then continues. Also, I don't have a bit amount of care in the world about that man. I told Tsukahiro my real thoughts. To be honest, I'm already aware that my future is already set in stone, that I would replace him and become the new leader of the White Room. But as long as I can escape from his grasp even for only a small definite amount of time, I will take it. Rebellion is part of the human nature. The moment one is born in this world, time will comes that they'll go against the other's philosophy and made their own. It will be the stimulus for the start of a new era. It's either that they'll improve the current principles in the society or change the whole idea of it. That's one of the reason why I'm persistent to stay as much as possible in this school. I'm curious about the normal life a person experience, thirsty of new ideas that I haven't read in that isolated place, and lastly, I badly want to know this empty feeling that I haven't raveled yet. Something as mysterious is growing inside me that I have no idea about its existence. All the things that I gain from here, whether it's important or not, I will bring at the time that I return to that place. I'm gonna use all of it to start a new curriculum and destroy the current. Bravo, bravo, what a speech you got. You're wasting your immeasurable talent by staying at this miserable place. But I will take your deal. I'm looking forward to it, Ayanokouji-kun. I pray for my inevitable defeat against the monster in human skin. Upon accepting my offer, I immediately head back to where Ichinose is. Who I'm sure is surprised to my sudden disappearance. Third person's POV. When they're done in reconciling with each other. Both let go of the hug and hold each other's hand. So Ichinose-chan, kindly explain what happened. Amakura asked. Ichinose then released a smile and turned her head to her side, but Ayanokouji is not there. Where is he? Amakura was surprised of it. She thought that Ayanokouji was only a passerby and then coincidentally chatted with Ichinose on her way there. You mean Ayanokouji-kun? Ichinose nodded her head several times while moving her gaze around the place. So does it mean that you're together with him the whole evening? Still looking for him, Ichinose immediately responded with a yes. Yeah. Before she realized the slip of her tongue, Ichinose quickly turned to Amakura, whose eyes are wide open due to the shock. Oh no. Before she will explain it, Amakura's expression quickly changed and now she's wearing a smug face. Hehe, I promise I won't breath a word about it, Ichinose-chan. I'm jealous and happy for you. Eh? She was surprisingly shocked about Amakura's reaction. Ichinose thought that she'll overreact and shouted that moment she knows it. Does it mean that you already noticed your true feelings, huh? You always talked about Ayanokouji-kun, but when someone asked you about it, you quickly denied and say that you only see him as a friend. Ichinose was again shocked. She didn't expected that the others to notice her being in love to him before she have realized it herself. Yeah. She nodded her head, being shy about it. So how far does the two of you go? Amakura then moved her face closer to hers. What do, Amakura-chan, mean? Ichinose didn't understand the hidden meaning of Amakura's question, that's why she asked. Acting disappointed, Amakura pouted and said more clearly. You know, did the two of you already in a relationship or at least shared a kiss or something? Ichinose's cheeks grows flushed. As if she remembers something about yesternight and Amakura caught her. Oi, you recalled something right? Come on, spill the beans. Amakura then forced Ichinose to say it. She grabbed both of her shoulders and looked at her face much closer. It's embarrassing. Ichinose then tries to push Amakura. She still can't provide a proper answer because she's also confused about their relationship. Since the other person's body haven't replenished the energy she used yesterday. Amakura then fell down to the ground. I'm very sorry for that, Amakura-chan. Ichinose quickly offered her hands, wanting to help Amakura to stand up. But her hand was slapped by the other person. Rejecting her assistance and turned her back, planning to leave. Wait. Ichinose held Amakura's wrist and decided to tell her about something. I will spill it, just don't share it to the others. Amakura quickly turned around with shining eyes. She nodded her head several times, being excited about the story. Ichinose couldn't believe that it was only an act, but since she already promised. She then opened up to her. And the truth is, our relationship is still complicated. We both know that the two of us are from different classes, not to mention that I'm a class representative, so a problem will surely arise if that were to happen. Ichinose looked down while saying those. Amakura then hold her hands and say. Don't worry, Ichinose-chan. I'm sure that they will understand. Anyway, is that all of it? Even after knowing a certain fact that Ichinose is having a hard time. Amakura still wanted to know how far they go last night. We shared a kiss. Ichinose's face is already red as a tomato. While Amakura almost shout to her lungs upon knowing about it. Really the two of you kissed. Amakura make her index fingers touched each other. Gesturing about the kiss part. Yeah, but it's only an indirect one. Amakura's cheerful atmosphere earlier quickly fade out. She lose the smile on her face and got the looks of disappointment. So that's it. Ichinose nodded her head, telling her that that's all that happened. Knowing that Ichinose is telling the truth, Amakura returned her smile and tell her that she's rooting to both of them and was happy that she's safe. I'm glad that you're safe, Ichinose-chan, and I'm rooting for the both of you. The two then stopped their exchange when a presence of someone is standing close to them. They turned around and found the figure of Ayanokouji, who's waiting for the both of them to notice him. Acting director Tsukahiro is on the largest tent in the area. Just go straight there and you'll find it in no time. Ichinose was glad that she will no longer waste her precious time in finding the so-called office of the acting director. She then say goodbye to them, hurriedly head off. Thanks about that, Ayanokouji-kun. I better go there now. Sayonara, Ayanokouji-kun and Amakura-san. Seeing her running figure, Ayanokouji and Amakura only stared at her back as she slowly blended into the crowd. An awkward atmosphere was felt by the two. Both don't have any idea what to talk about since it's their first time meeting each other and she knows something about him and Ichinose. About that, can you, he said. Oh sure, no probs. Mr. Lucky Guy. Amakura quickly responded since she knows what Ayanokouji mean. Thanks. He bowed. Amakura was about to leave when Ayanokouji suddenly called her. Amakura, wasn't it? She turned around and answers. Yes. If you have time to spare, can I trouble you in accompanying Ichinose to Shibata? Amakura was about to check her tablet to find Shibata's location. When Ayanokouji quickly provided it, that's why she didn't. He's currently in B7 north side from here. She then looked into the map and nodded. Amakura looked at him wearing a smile and say. Sure, anything for Ichinose-chan's future. Oops, it's still not official, huh? But yeah, leave her to me. Ayanokouji sighed. She can just simply say that she's also heading there rather than those stuff. Since Amakura already agree and is a person that can be trusted. Ayanokouji say farewell and walk towards a certain person that is shading from the scorching heat using the large umbrella beach, sitting quietly, alone. In the open tent of Tsukahiro. When Ichinose arrived there, the acting director was the only person present in the place. The time he saw her, Tsukahiro waved his hand, welcoming her with a warm smile. How can he hide those terrifying expression he had yesterday? She then stopped thinking about it because she witnessed another person that are more terrifying than his. "Good morning, acting director Tsukahiro," she greeted. "Good morning to you as well, Ichino-san," he responded. He wore a warm smile, completely concealing his hostile aura. "Did you meet with the other faculty members?" Just like how Ayanokouji deduced the questions Tsukahiro will asked. The first question was spot on. "No. Acting director Tsukahiro is the first faculty staff whom I met." Tsukahiro nodded, then put it into his laptop. "It was the right choice that you approach me first rather the other staff, especially your homeroom teacher. Hearing the whole story from the primary sources is creditable than the secondary sources from other person. Who knows that they might have changed the true story to hide something, you agree aren't you, Ichino-san?" Ichino only nodded to his question. She was already amazed at how Ayanokouji predicted the acting director's thoughts. From his eyes movements, next response and small gestures, he predicted all of it. "I'm dumbfounded. So Ichino-san, what exactly happened yesterday?" And just like how Ayanokouji perceived it, the acting director's bright atmosphere switches into a tense and heavy one. He stares at Ichino's eyes, like looking at her naked soul. Forcing her to state the truth despite knowing it already. Around 11 a.m., me and Shibata-kun were on our way to the next designated area until I accidentally tripped myself when crossing the river, smashing my wristwatch to the riverbed. She paused. Tsukahiro nodded, listening to Ichino's story thoroughly. We then immediately checked it and found out that the GPS tracking device wasn't working, so I told Shibata-kun to go ahead while I'll return here to have it fixed. Go on. On my way here, I didn't notice that my tablet's battery had gone low until it shut down. So I kinda got lost in the middle of the forest since I'm bad at directions. She breathed, strolling around the forest to find anyone that will help me to my current predicament. I stumbled upon Horikita Suzune from class 2D. She told me that it was almost 6 o'clock in the evening, so I decided to go here in the early morning. Tsukahiro didn't expect that she'll hear another name, aside from making up lies that she survives in the night on her own. "Does it mean that you spend the night together with Horikita-san?" Tsukahiro asked curiously. "Yes, acting director." "I see." Tsukahiro finds it funny how unreliable and yet believable her story is. Even if the two of them, Ichino and Horikita, are supposedly fighting each other, each of them cannot leave a helpless person alone in the middle of the night. And the part that she didn't find anyone aside from Horikita didn't carry that much weight. All students are spread all over the island, so it's unexpected for even a random student to not cross paths with her. But he just let her off the hook for now. Tsukahiro already had enough fun for the day and was excited to move his pieces in the promised time. "You can go now, Ichino-san, please be very careful and don't go in the forest alone again, Kei?" Ichino bowed and responded. "Thank you. I will take my leave." He only stares at her back. Thinking of the fate that he'll suffer unless he will win their match. A9. Suspicion. A9. The exact time that I and Ichino arrived at the starting point was 6:50, 10 minutes early, before the first designated area was sent in the tablet. It may not provide me enough time to have the chance of gaining the early bird bonuses, but I had enough time to reach the designated area so that my 2 consecutive misses will reset to 0. While strolling in the deep forest, I felt that something inside my bag was moving. I didn't waste any time and quickly pulled out the tablet since I left it on vibrate mode. I then opened it and saw a notification on the screen. Upon tapping, it shows the whole map of the whole island and a red dot in the eastern part, the block G7. In the mountains, huh? Knowing that it's still too early for the hidden enemies to make their move. I then began walking towards my destination without the sense of incoming danger. When I'm already one more block away to my designated area, I then saw a new task that just appeared nearby. I wonder what it is. Looking at the time on the tablet, the current time of the day is 8:26. Weighing the 2 options, I then chose to change my destination to go and participate in the task, sacrificing the designated area for now. The points that I will gain if I manage to win in that certain task is enough to make up for the point penalty in missing the areas. Not wasting any precious time, I hurriedly went there to secure my spot for whatever that task was. In F9. Arriving on the white sandy beach of the island, I took a glimpse of several groups that are already there. I opened my tablet again and read the description of the task. Task. Long jump. Category. Physical ability. Participation requirements. Enter within 20 minutes of the task appearance. No. Of participants. One person, only one person from the group may enter. Deadline. After 10 people have registered. Victory conditions. The longest distance traveled from the edge of the board to the closest indentation to it measured in 1 attempt, if tied another round will be made and the new longest measurement will be the victor. Rewards. First place. 10 points. Second place. 5 points. Third place. 3 points. All group participants are given 250 milliliters bottled water. Knowing that the rewards of the task is worth it and I still have the chance to register because the task is not yet close. I then dash towards the instructor to announce my participation in the game. I want to participate in the task. He then forwards the scanner and I show my wristwatch to secure my spot. Thing. Ayanokoji Kiyotaka, you are number 9 of the group participants. Please wait till the contest starts. Hearing his response, I then find a safe spot to take shelter from the scorching heat coming from the sun. While I'm sitting under the tree near the shore, a pair then approached me. Ayanokouji senpai. I glanced at them and found that they were Sakurako Tsubaki and Raiko Utamiya. Since they already have my attention, Raiko initiates the conversation and Sakurako stays silent as usual. It's been a while since we last had a conversation, Ayanokouji senpai. Well, it's true. I still remember that time clearly. It was during my visit in the convenience store when the students were still in the process of forming their groups for the current special exam. Raiko mentioned at that time that he and Sakurako were not interested in the bounty on my head and wanted to take revenge on Housen. I wonder what the conversation will be about now. What can I do to you both? We're just here to warn Ayanokouji senpai that Housen's group is up to something. We don't know the details of it, but it's expected that it's no good. Gaining information from this phase is vital, no matter how small or vague it is, for the remaining days of the special exam. I should be thankful to them for doing the trouble and telling me about the unknown scheme Housen and Amasawa are up to. But I can't erase the possibility of them using Housen as a decoy to distract me and execute the true plan while I'm focusing on the accused. Thanks for the warning. Even though it's the opposite of my honest thoughts, I still offer my gratitude as an act of common courtesy. We should be leaving, Ayanokouji senpai. The task will start soon. Both then turned their backs on me and started walking to the place where students were lining up. The group of third-year students just recently arrived, completing the participants before the deadline of the task ends. I should keep going as well. Standing up from the sandy ground, I wipe the remaining sand that is attached to my pants and stretch my body while heading there. Somewhere in the island, Ichinose and Amakura got in touch with Shibata through the use of the communication device named walkie-talkie. They were about to rush into B7 where Ayanokouji mentioned Shibata is in when a student from class 2A suddenly offered her assistance by letting them use the mentioned device to reach him. Both are surprised by the fact that she knows the whole situation they're in, but the girl mentioned that it was Sakayanagi's orders, so they immediately take it. Mashi Shibata-kun. Hello Ichinose-san. Ichinose was a little bit surprised because by the time she used the walkie-talkie, it seemed that Shibata was already waiting for her. Can Shibata-kun decide on a meeting place for us? I don't want to delay you from chasing the designated area and nearby tasks while waiting. She thought that it would take a minute for him to respond because he would check the tablet first to find in between time for their meeting. Oh, I'll wait here in B7 for Ichinose-san's arrival. But unexpectedly he immediately replied. But. Ichinose was about to complain, but Shibata insisted on waiting. Just come here, Ichinose-san. I'll wait. Shibata's treatment on her suddenly becomes forceful. A complete opposite for the usually kind and caring student named Shibata. Doesn't want to waste any more valuable time. Ichinose then thinks that the reason why Shibata is acting like that is because he felt guilty for losing her yesterday and doesn't want it to happen again. Okay Shibata-kun, we're on our way. She then cut the call and spoke her gratitude to the class 2A student for her assistance. Back to F9. The long jump contest was already finished. 10 exceptional students from the 3 different years showed an amazing performance presenting their group. But there can only be 3 winners that will earn the prizes and they are as follows. First. Ayanokoji Kiyotaka. Second third-year male student. Third. Utamiya Raiko. The battle of the 3 was so close that the difference of the distance they traveled was only a few meters. If I hold myself back then, by only using the right amount of strength to outmatch Utamiya, then it will be my loss. The last participants of the contest surprised everyone. That particular student didn't excel or should we say, doesn't show his capabilities till now. Nagumo must have a huge influence on the changes from these types of students. The new class system that Nagumo proposed, especially to the third-year students, forces them to give their all, not for the sake of the class, but for oneself. Because of the large gap in points between each class. The lower class had no choice but to participate in his final gamble for the ticket to graduate in Class A. By having one of the best results in this special exam, their name will be known as one of the best students in the school. Having the chance of getting the favor of the current student council president. Ayanokouji then left the place. He then went to the next nearby task in the area. Aside from the points and bottled water he gained from the recent contest, he also got the 3 increased slot rewards, which can be used to add new members from the same years to form a large group. At 10 AM sharp, it was announced that the second designated area of the day is on H9. Being aware that the current location I'm in is only 1 block away from the mentioned spot, I immediately decided to spend 1 point running a GPS search and pinpoint the locations of everyone on the island. Besides, I needed to reach the area since the point deduction for missing designated areas has already started and will increase in magnitude depending on the times I will fail to reach the areas. I found out that there's 4 groups nearby that may have the same table with me and will contest me in the early bird bonus. Reading the names of the members of the 4 groups, I noticed that one among the groups was listed in the bottom 10 groups not too long ago. It got me thinking that it's possible that they managed to pile up enough points to be safe in the red line, like Akito's group in the early days of the exam, or they formed a large group and the points average of the 2 groups are enough for them to be safe. In any case, if it's the latter, then it's too early to execute it. The exam still has 5 more days left to be concluded. Anything is still possible right now as long as you won't hurt yourself badly. That will result in setting your score in stone and dropping out in the exam. It also works to the current top 10 rankings. The gap between each other can either widen or lessen as time goes by. There's also the possibility of a new group to rise into the top, outscoring the current groups, dethroning them in the rankings. After a few trips in the woods, my tablet vibrates, meaning I already reached the designated area which is H9. I then opened the screen and found out that I'm the first group to arrive since I received 11 early bird bonuses. I'm gonna get caught soon on Nagumo's radar. Checking the points that I received today, I can confidently say that I'm only 1 digit away from snatching the 10th spot of the rankings. I was still in the 25th spot yesterday, but considering that the point gaps between each group are low, 1 right move can easily change the tide. Well, I managed to gain first place in 2 tasks earlier and now earned 11 additional points, so it makes sense. Swiping the screen, I stopped in the ranking chart and found out that Konji has dethroned Nagumo by 6 points. It's not that surprising since Konji is wreaking havoc in all tasks he takes part in and is moving non-stop from one designated area to the others. The guy is eager to take the first spot in the final rankings to gain his freedom from his bet against Horikita. Too motivated that he left his bag in who knows where, then moved from one given designated area then to the nearby task, only carrying his tablet. I wonder if he sleeps over or under the tree in the evening. But his main rival in the promising spot is not that easy to beat. Nagumo has a huge human resource, considering that he's part of a large group that consists of 6 third graders, aside from him. The probability of a large group in piling more points within a day is higher, compared to those who face the exam solo. Either Konji will gain first place or second, that's fine with me. It will be a huge help in closing the gap between the other class, since the class points he'll receive will be soloed by Class D alone, without sharing to the other class. Still checking the screen, I also noticed that Ryuin's group has managed to move in the 5th spot and Sakayanagi's group has been overtaken by the first year's Yugami's group. Speaking of Yugami, he and Raiko, or should I say Tsubaki, have similarities in the information that they told me. We're not interested in the bounty. There's also the dissatisfaction towards Housen, primarily on his violent actions in which everyone can agree. In either case, they're still in the gray area till now. Since I haven't got the necessary information to confidently say that any of them is the White Room student, I need to raise my guard and stay vigilant in my surroundings. Right after the clock turns into 3 o'clock, the final designated area was then given. I expected that it is the random one since the last 3 areas follow the pattern set by the school. Looking at the screen to find out of its exact location, I then saw that the random designated area is on D4. It takes hours to reach there because my current area is on I5 and I'm currently here. I immediately decided to give up on it and turned my attention to the nearby task on the screen. Seeing the abundance of red dots sparkling on the screen of the tablet, I then went to the nearby site to check the details of the task. There's also the chance of meeting students that I'm familiar with. Well, it's easy to spend 1 point to run a GPS search and use the remaining time of the day to make contact, but it's still unnecessary for now. Konji's recent performance has forced Nagumo to take measures against him soon, making the latter to focus his attention on the former, giving the others time to pile up points without the interruption of Nagumo. Well, that guy has so much ego that he wouldn't even care about the groups that he thinks are not qualified for his attention. Since he got the whole 3rd year controlled in the palm of his hand, having an eye on everyone on the island is an easy feat for him. It gives him the advantages to see things more thoroughly than those that only use deduction skills by the help of the ranking chart and GPS search. He can also see potential groups that will stand on his way to the top spot, then makes a plan to prevent them from taking it. In a blink of an eye, it's already 4:15, meaning the closing of the task and events for the day is near. Well, during my walk and checking the task in the place, I ran across Wang Meiyu's group, most likely known as Mai-chan's from our class. It seems that they have been struggling in acquiring enough water for 2 days since Kushida, their leader of the group, hasn't shown up since day 7. Mai-chan said that they can't make a decision, particularly using points to buy bottled water, without the presence of Kushida. She also mentioned that Kushida sometimes went into the forest alone in the evening and came back late in the night. I remember that I have 3 250 milliliters bottled water left inside my bag. I can provide them to the other 2, but it won't be enough for them by tomorrow morning. Since most of the tasks present in the place are the miscellaneous category, the prizes of each task are either food or water. I then propose that we'll participate in one of the tasks where water is part of the rewards. Somehow I managed to acquire 750 milliliters bottled water for the task I'm partaking in, and they also got 250 milliliters for the participation rewards. Giving the whole bottle and one of the 250 milliliters water I had to Mai-chan's group, somehow it will save them from the current predicament and bounce back in the exam. Of course, they hesitated to take all of it right away by saying that I also needed water for the remaining days on the island. But I insisted that I still have plenty and can still gain new resources in case mine goes low. I then parted ways with them the time that they finally accepted it. Both are thankful for my help and mentioned that they will make up with it in the future. The crimson sun is slowly sinking into the deep of the ocean. Soon the bright lively atmosphere changed into the dark and cold night, ending the day 9 of the special exam. But before that, I noticed that there's a task right in the place I'm currently in. The tablet shows the contents as follows. Task. Campfire. Category. Miscellaneous. Participation requirements. Enter within 15 minutes of the task appearance. No. Of participants. 1 or more. A group of 3 members can only participate in 2 entries. Deadline. After 8 groups has registered. Victory conditions. The students that made the fastest bonfire will be held as the victor. Rewards. 15 points. All group that participates are given a free 2-person meal for the evening. There's also a side note that the resources on making the bonfire is up to the participants, the school only provides the matches, the box to make the fire thing, for the task. Understandable. Talking about food, during my stay with Ichinose, I spent a day and a half worth of food for the both of us. Because she doesn't have anything and I can't afford to let her go hungry. So this task is a saving grace for me. Even if I won't be held as the victor, the free food is necessarily important. I quickly went in line to announce my participation in the task, and I'm the 5th group out of 8. The proctor told us to wait for the last 3 remaining participants, so I leaned in the nearby tree and took a rest. Not so long, the vacant slot was already filled, then the proctor announced the start of the task. He clearly emphasizes that we're only allowed to use dead branches, twigs, fallen leaves etc. as long as it's not cut from the fully alive tree itself. The task is similar to a forest cleanup where we'll gather all the disposable stuff in the forest ground and either throw it away in case it's human waste like plastics or use it again for other purposes. This time the forest waste will be used in making the bonfire. For some reason, the students present here will feel relaxed for the night amidst the exhausting and frustrating special exam that we're currently participating in. I went into the forest and picked different sizes of dry twigs and branches. I also didn't miss grabbing some dry leaves along the way and returned to the spot to start making the bonfire. Time quickly flew, the victor of the task has been decided and it's from our class. The group where the Boy Scouts Aikensuru belong. I was planning to approach them to ask about the current situation of Shinohara. But I guess I'll wait this evening since there's still a large crowd and the noise is disturbing. I then get my participation reward from the proctor and meet again with Mai-chan's group, then we set the camp near my own made bonfire. Ichinose's POV. Evening. Well, we're having our dinner for the night with the company of Hashimoto-kun, Kamuro-san and Nishimura-san. They talk about some random things that happened in the morning and the other day as well. I didn't join the chatter that much since I'm still concerned about the situation Ayanokouji-kun is in. He reassured me countless times yesternight that he will be fine and I should focus on the exam rather than being worried about his business. Don't mind me, Ichinose. I can at least prevent them from expelling me because of the useful information you give. I owe you this much, Ichinose. Shibata-kun, Nishimura-san and Hashimoto-kun, those 3 continued in sharing, while me and Kamuro-san only stayed silent. Is Ayanokouji-kun true to his words? I peeked into his cold terrifying eyes which I believe are his true ones. Trying to read his honest thoughts, whether he's only bluffing to lessen my worries or he already has countermeasures for it. As usual, I can't see through him. The years and months that we interacted are not enough to know the true nature of the person named Ayanokouji Kiyotaka. He still remains a mystery till now and will still be in the upcoming future. I don't understand his gesture that he suddenly touched his lips using his index finger and then planted it into mine. Is this enough, Ichinose? Surprised by his unexpected actions, my mind suddenly turned off, unable to comprehend the stuff that he recently did to me. Then I realized that he stole my first kiss. Even though it was an indirect one, because it wasn't his lips that touched mine but his finger that recently touched his first, for me it still counts. It's so strange, you're really a mysterious person, Ayanokoji-kun. I still can't believe how he easily changed my uneasiness towards him into trusting him more and felt comfortable when he's on my side. Perhaps. Before I got swayed away from the atmosphere, I then asked him one more important question that may either make him hate me for prying into his life or a little chance that Ayanokoji-kun will open up to me even with little information about his life. Hey, Ayanokoji-kun, if you don't mind answering, what is Ayanokoji-kun's relationship with the acting director Tsukahiro and the word White Room? I expected him to become aggressive again to interrogate me on why I just mentioned it right now. But his handsome brown eyes become calm and I sense a bit of emotion sipping out. Remember our promise a year later, Ichinose. He must be talking about the time when we're both alone inside his room. As clear as day. Ayanokoji-kun stretched out his right hand and touched my hair, then lightly stroked my cheek. Then, he moved his thumb and gently caressed my lips. By doing that, all my worries were lifted and I calmed down. I did nothing, but only stared at his handsome brown eyes. I'll open up to you when that time comes. Recalling most of it, I didn't notice that my face was beet red and the people around me saw it. Wait, Ichinose-san. Are you blushing? Nishimura-san pointed it out. I then quickly hid my face using my hands because of the embarrassment. No. The rest then laughed at me. I thought that they would delve into the topic further. Good thing that they didn't and we spent the whole night without even mentioning my disappearance. A10. Large group in meeting. A10. By using the more people card, Nagumo has successfully managed to create a 7-man team composed of all exceptional third-year students from his class. They're currently residing in the northwest of the uninhabited island, waiting for the report from the free groups that were scattered around the place. The free group. An informal group composed of several 3-man groups that Nagumo had personally chosen to act as his arms and legs during the exam. There were 5 groups each from class 3B, 3C, and 3D, for a total of 15. 2 members of each group were given the task of following instructions given to them by a figurehead, whereas the last was told to travel between designated areas so as to avoid incurring any penalties. Nagumo as in. What's the task there, Aoyama? It's a geography test, the following contents are. 1 or 2 members from a group, entrees should be within 30 minutes from the task appearance, 20 groups are the deadline, and 15 points for the first placer. Okay. Right after the call ended, another student then got in touch with the group. Alpha 1. In our current spot we had a miscellaneous task, a contest of knitting. It only needs 1 member of a group to participate and the rewards are high. Unfortunately, it's already closed. You shouldn't with me? Sorry. Move to the other task side and report quickly. Copy that. The time the call was cut off, Nagumo released a mocking laugh. Class D will forever be Class D. Can't even follow a simple instruction nor got a brain to use for thinking. Nagumo finds it funny as well as irritating that one of the free groups suddenly contacts him, informing him of an already closed task. Right after Konji took the first spot yesterday. He widened the search area of the free groups from 7 meters to 12 meters radius from the main group to cover more ground for the available task and pile up points faster. The said strategy can only be used by Nagumo himself. By utilizing the small groups at his disposal. He can send them to check the nearby site and collect significant information, saving the large group's energy from going there itself. As a result, he can decide the best route to take among the various options and gain the advantages in piling points when compared to the groups that go there themselves but get disappointed because it's already closed. This is also the reason why he remained in the top in the last 9th day before Konji outranked them but quickly took the spot back. Doesn't like how Nagumo expresses his comments to the lower classes as a whole. Asahina retorted back. But Miyabi, isn't Konji-kun a student from Class D as well? Being reminded of the fact that a student from such a class and worse only a 1-man group has managed to pressure and make him run for his money. Nagumo's expression becomes serious. Shut up Nizuna. Nagumo still can't believe that the cocky rich-ass bastard Konji hasn't run out of gas for all the traveling he'd done in the last 10 days. He deduces that by the start of the 2nd week of the exam, exhaustion will affect Konji's performance. No matter how high a person's stamina is, moving from one designated area to another without taking a break requires a lot of energy to be used. limiting him from going from one spot to another since he focused more on getting the early bird bonuses, but like breaking Nagumo's expectation, there's no sign of Konji slowing down. Okay, let's regroup. The two of you head into Aoyama's location and the rest follow me to the other task. With that, the 7-man group then broke up and went to each other's destination. Nagumo has been waiting for a certain someone to make a move, but the current situation cannot be overlooked anymore and needs immediate action. After he'll widen the gap against Konji, there it will put him to rest. Then Nagumo will prepare to provoke someone that has been attracting attention lately and finds out for himself whether the ghost of the past that haunts him chooses the right person to put his attention to. An special exam that passes the boundaries between years is rare, so I'll take advantage of it just only for him. Not too long, Nagumo instructed the other 3 to go to the other side and he and Nazuna would head straight. After snatching the victory of a physical ability category task, Hashimoto's small group was given first place rewards and a 3-person additional capacity for creating a new group through linking each other's wristwatch. Following Sakayanagi's order, Hashimoto contacts Ichinose's group to meet up in the closest spot. Since they're not that far from each other, it didn't take long for them to arrive in the plant spot. Oheu Hashimoto-kun, Kamuro-san and Nishimura-san. Amidst a large crowd of students present in the area, Ichinose called them out without any hint of hesitation. Hashimoto then raised his hand, responding to Ichinose. He gestured that they were going to head to where her group is. Ichinose, now's the time. Albeit being surprised by the first thing Hashimoto has said, Ichinose quickly understood the meaning of it. Both stretched out their arms and linked the wristwatch by touching the surface of each other. Ping. After a few seconds, the process was then succeeded and Hashimoto and Ichinose's small group became one. The previous 2 groups' points were then added and divided by 2. Turning into average and is now the new group's points. Somehow we're still part of the top 10, but on the 8th spot, huh? The difference of the points gained between the 2 groups has decreased the previous overall points of Sakayanagi's team, affecting the standing of the top groups in the exam. Don't worry about it, we can still start again and become more productive since we are now a 6-man group. Ichinose brightened up the atmosphere and raised the group's morale to look forward to the positive side. We'll be looking forward to working with you, Ichinose. Hashimoto extended his arm towards Ichinose, in which she took it, ready to face the battle between the 3 years, but stronger and better. The newly formed large group of second years will serve as a far stronger force than the previous separate groups. It will become a new threat to those that are also aiming for the top spots, making the competition of gaining points more intense than before. I and Shibata-kun too, Hashimoto-kun. Hey RR. The alarm of one of the members' tablets rang. Kamuro opened her device and turned off the alarm, irritated. She then goes into the island's map, checking the second designated spot for the new group. Could you turn off that bucking alarm, Kamuro? It's annoying every freaking time. Hashimoto complained about Kamuro's alarm that was set during the exact time the 4 designated areas were given. Blame Sakayanagi, you moron. I was only told to do this to remind our lazy ass to keep moving. No longer wanted to stall in the same spot. The 2 stopped arguing with each other and picked their things to get ready to move to the next destination. Ichinose then led the way to the north side of the island. She's now following the new route from Hashimoto's group table, heading there while waiting for the right moment to release the question that's in her mind. The chirping of the tropical birds brings a pleasant atmosphere to the forest. The colorful songs it creates relieves the exhausted participants from the stress that their body has built up in the last 10th day of the special exam. Checking the place to look for third parties that are present in the area. Ichinose hasn't seen anyone and then decided that it's safe for an important discussion in the time being. Hashimoto-kun. They didn't halt and continued walking. What is it, Ichinose? The rest stayed silent and only listened. Why did Sakayanagi-san suddenly change strategy? I mean, the original plan is to form a large group in the last 3 days of the exam, right? Hashimoto looked up and thought of it in a second. He then raised his shoulder and couldn't think of anything. I dunno. I'm just simply following Haim-sama's order. And there's no use questioning her, I'm pretty sure she has her reason. Ichinose nodded. Sakayanagi is known to be the best tactician in the second year, considering that she still remains in the top from day 1. The Cold War, or should we say internal war between her and Katsuragi, doesn't become a hurdle to her and later has taken control of the whole class after winning against the other faction in a ruthless way. Because of her outstanding leadership, their class has left great impressions on every exam they participate in, gaining mostly the first or sometimes second results against all of their opponents. It doesn't matter if it's against the tyrant Ryan, the good-hearted Ichinose, the soon-to-become formidable class of Horikita. Right now, Sakayanagi's class stands above them all, no matter the aspects it is, maybe it's in academics, sports, class cooperation etc. Also we still got a card in our sleeves. Hashimoto ended the conversation. Ichinose was satisfied with Hashimoto's honest response and just obediently followed Sakayanagi's plan for the best of the group in the days ahead. The group finally reached the designated area near the flowing river. They checked the tablet and gained the arrival points by each head count. Aiming for the early bird bonuses is insignificant to the mentioned group. The special exam rules clearly stated that the said bonus will only be valid if all members are present in the designated area, the time the early bird bonuses are still open. Because of that, Sakayanagi's special situation gets in the way, considering that it's impossible for them to move together. So the group focuses more on the second option in gaining points, which is participating in the available tasks that are scattered throughout the island. After the short rest from the long exhausting hike, the group went to the shining red dots near the place therein hurriedly because of the number of students present in the area that will turn out to be their competitors in entering the task. Afternoon. The third designated area was then sent to my tablet. I checked it and found out that it's the turn of the random one. Right now, I'm currently residing in E7 near the middle of the uninhabited island. The given area was located in the northwest corner, B4. So it's expected to consume a lot of time traveling to arrive there. It still takes an hour and a half to get there, even if I've to go hurriedly. Not to mention that I needed to cross a mountain along the way because the time spent will double if I were reared. Young. So I decided that participating in any open task that I'll stumbled upon heading there is the right choice. Even if there's the risk of failure in arriving at the fixed 2-hour period between each designated area, the point penalty won't activate yet since it's the first spot that I will miss. I then started walking while recalling what happened yesternight. Flashback. And circling around the open bonfire. Me and my classmates were having our dinner while talking about the various events that happened in the past days. So me and Kikyo-chan participated in the English test. We thought that we might snatch the win since both of us are familiar with the context of the contest. Unexpectedly, a male student in the first year aced it without any difficulties. Mai-chan expressed it with grief. Having the full confidence on something but unexpectedly turns out that someone is far better than you in that particular subject brings a different type of impact on one's pride. Not to mention that Mai-chan saw that person do it like it's only child's play and worse is he's also an underclassman. Who was that guy, Mai-chan? Sudo asked about the identity of the person. Some may think that Sudo is being nosy and cannot read the room. But the truth is it's the opposite. He understands well the feeling of losing to someone in the field that he believes he's good at. Using the fight with Housen as an example, almost everyone is aware that Sudo is a great fighter and won't lose to anyone that easily. He won't even care if his opponents are bigger or more than him. The results matter during the exchange of throws. But the emergence of Housen brings a different chill on Sudo's fighting spirit. Housen is not only bigger than him, he's also stronger and faster compared to the other large guys Sudo fought in the past. The age factor between them, which is not that big since it's only a year, makes Sudo doubts if Housen is really a first-year student since he has the looks of someone who's already in a university. Albeit all of those mentioned, Sudo didn't hesitate even the slightest to fight back in order to protect me and Horikita from the assailant. Mitsugami-kun, the kohai of Kikyo-chan from her previous school. Yagami and Kishida's table are far from each other. It can be considered as a pure coincidence for them to participate together in the same task. But since Yagami knows about the bounty and Kishida harbors hatred on me, it's possible that they joined hands and used that time to make contact. I was gonna ask about what happens next, but Ike got ahead of me. Did they talk after that? It's not like I'm jealous or something. Somehow the thoughts that I had in mind aligned with Ike's question. Despite acting tough during the incident with Shinohara's group, Ike still can't control his lust when it comes to his idol Kishida. To think of it. Where is Shinohara? Oh, yep. Yagami-kun approached us and greeted Kikyo-chan. They also hug each other like both of them are lovers. Upon hearing about the words hug and lovers, Ike got jealous and clenched his fist hard. The hug might be only an act to send the message to each other. By utilizing the moment they spent from that time, the message can be passed through whisper, inserting papers to the pockets or inside the opening of the backpack. It looks like I haven't put too much attention on Kishida's action in this special exam. I recalled seeing her location far from her small group, but I just overlooked it, thinking that she's heading to the starting point to buy some items. Where is Kikyo-chan right now, Mai-chan? Since Mai-chan is also thinking of the same question in the last 2 days, she looked down and just responded by tilting her head. Assuming that Kishida has been missing, I quickly pulled out his tablet and was planning to use the GPS search, good thing that Sudo stopped him. The heck are you doing, dude? We can't just use our points to look for her. Sudo grabbed Ike's tablet before he could do it. Again, Kikyo-chan has gone missing. When the two of them were already arguing with each other, I then approached the downed Mai-chan. I tapped her shoulder and gave some words of encouragement. Don't worry about Kushida, I checked her location earlier and she's in safe hands. Of course, those statements are full of lies. Well, it's true that I used the GPS search when I heard of her being away from her group for the last 2 days, but the thing is I couldn't track her location. There's only 2 options to explain it. First is that she'd retired from the exam due to some unforeseen injury, but it doesn't make sense if her group hasn't heard nor not told about it. The second is similar to Ichinose, her wristwatch broke. Whether it may be done purposely or by accident, the fact that it's broken is enough explanation on why she couldn't be tracked. Thank you, Ayanokoji-kun. Present. I then stopped from walking and opened my tablet when I saw someone from the faculty that is present in the area. Let's see. Task. Fauna and Flora Test. Category. Miscellaneous Academic. Participation Requirements. Enter within 60 minutes of the task's appearance. No. Of participants. 2 or more, a group of 3 or more people can participate with 2 entries. Deadline. After 10 groups has registered. Victory conditions. The student that has the highest score, the same group score are separated, is held the victor. Rewards. First place 10 points. Second place 5 points. Third place 3 points. Scanning the place to look for any groups that are present. I only saw a few right now and it's safe to say that the task hasn't reached the full capacity and deadline yet. Strike while the iron is hot. I then took the opportunity and announced my participation in the mentioned task. The evening. B6. The popping and flickering of the flames. The rustling of the trees as well as the sea as it kisses the white sandy shore. 6 first-year students are having a secret meeting to discuss the information a member of them acquired from being together with their target for a whole week and to finalize the strategy. The following are Sakurako Tsubaki and Riku Utamiya, Class C, Yagami Takuya, Class B, Housen Kazuya and Nanis Tsubasa, Class D, and Amasawa Ichika, Class A. The other 2 students from Class 1 that were part of those who were called by Nagumo for the context of Ayanokouji's bounty were nowhere to be found. Maybe they're already on their way here. Yagami said, hoping for the arrival of the 2. Keep dreamin' Yagami-kun, Ayataka-kun told me that they don't want to cooperate and wanted the bounty for themselves, only. Amasawa responded, crushing Yagami's hope. Even though she spoke it in a playful tone, the fact that someone in their year is acting selfish hurts Yagami's heart. They should be aware that Ayanokouji-senpai is not only sharp, he's also strong. Riku shares his thoughts while glancing at Housen when he mentions the word strong. Ha! What you looking at? Housen glared at Riku. A storm is brewing in the place. Before the fight would break out between the 2 male, Sakurako stopped it by calling Riku's name. Riku-kun. Suddenly he began to calm down. The group then returned to the first topic before the talk about the absentee happened. Nana-san. They shifted their gaze on the person named Nanis. Sakurako once again starts the interrogation on her. Again Nana-san. Any useful information you gained that will help us to execute the plan better? Sakurako questioned Nanis again. Her current tone is not the usual flat one, instead it's so strict and gives off the vibes of someone with highest authority in the group. There's nothing. But Nanis didn't flinch and replied quickly right into Sakurako's face. Since the current method is not effective, she stood up from her seat and slowly approached Nanis. The moment that she's already close to her, Sakurako crouches and stares at Nanis's eyes, ordering her to spill the beans. Is that really true? Upon taking a glimpse of Sakurako's other side, Nanis was shocked and couldn't believe it. Well, their relationship is shallow since they haven't interacted that much, aside from the meetings that involve the 4 classes. Sakurako's current actions just didn't align with her ratings in the OAA that is considered as average. It makes Nanis think that the usual Sakurako is only an illusion. Nanis gulped. She then responded in a forceful tone, the time she regained her composure. I already told you countless times that I didn't find anything aside from knowing that we share the same table. 30 minutes have passed and the meeting hasn't moved from the first question. What other information Ayanokouji has that will be useful to them for the implementation of the plan? Hearing the same question and answer over and over again from the 2, the others were already bored to death. To no longer stand it, Housen walked towards the 2 and then quickly clenched Nanis's collar. I have enough of your shit, Nanis. Now, spill the beans, or you will regret it. Yagami, who's been silent for some time now, immediately held Housen's arm, preventing him from acting on what he had in mind. Which will make the situation become worse. Stop this, Housen-kun, violence won't solve anything. Being interrupted by a person that doesn't contribute anything from the plan, except from attending it diligently and following orders. Housen's mood got worse. He shifted his gaze to Yagami and sent him an intense glare. Shut the hell up, Yagami. Your goody two-shoes act won't work on me. I'm fully aware that beneath that kind face resides a monster that hasn't awakened yet. am I right? Before Yagami can defend his name from Hasen's sudden declaration, Amasawa released a mocking laugh, being entertained from the current situation the group is in. Ara what a lovely bunch you are Fufu. Well I'm gonna head out, sayonara. Feeling annoyed at Amasawa's treatment towards them, Hasen yelled at her. Where you going bitch, move one single step and I'm gonna beat the shit out of you. Having heard of Hasen's statement clearly, Amasawa covered her mouth using her hand, completely enjoying it instead of being terrified. Would you really raise a hand to a cute girl like me, Hasen-kun? Amasawa is currently testing Hasen. She wanted to know if he really is serious about the threat, besides it's not like Amasawa can't defend herself from the attack. As far as she's aware, Hasen is obsessed and violent so much that he won't back down to anyone he wants to pummel. Now here comes the question. Will he really punched his groupmate just because of simply hurting his pride? I think not. And if it's indeed the case then it just makes him a complete musclehead. TCH, you girls are terrifying to begin with. With that, Hasen let go of Nanas's collar and then swipes Yagami's arm that was holding him. He then headed to the forest alone, separating himself from the group discussions. Knowing that nothing will happen in today's strategic meeting, Sakurako announced the disbandment of the group, calling it a night. Hates, let's just proceed with the original plan. And Unanis, I'll deal with you myself. An hour passed after the meeting. Two people are having a secret chatter in the dark forest without each of their group's knowledge. How was your date with your senpai? The person being asked clutches the small fragments of stone and it turns into powder. It was fun, isn't aware of my true plot and things have been moving smoothly on our side. Then continue doing your act and I will do mine. The person paused. And your request will be fulfilled. The one person then released the stone powder to the ground. That's more I like it. Day 11. The other group's movement. Day 11. The final chapter of the 2-week uninhabited island exam is already near. Just 3 more long days and the final top 3 groups as well as the bottom 5 will be announced to everyone. Those that are in a dire situation on points should add more effort to avoid the penalty that is being part of the bottom. It's either paying through private points, then goes broke afterwards or worst every student's nightmare, expulsion. Even those that are close to the red line are not considered safe. Aside from the hidden strategy every group has, luck is one of the factors in this exam. The island is a place of hidden gold, different types of tasks are popping up everywhere and it's not that hard to stumble upon something that will change the group's fate. Miscellaneous category tasks may have the least probability of the 3, but it got the highest points rewards, considering how casual yet wide range it is. So now's the time to go full throttle and gain as many points as possible. As for me, I neither joined the top 10 nor the bottom 10 in the past weeks. I can even confidently say that my points currently are enough to at least put me in the safe area as long as I won't injure myself and retire. But I still can't lower my guard. The certain rule in the special exam textbooks, which is that we can't access the rankings chart in the last 2 days, gives me a different vibe that it will be the turning point of the exam. Since no one will know about the rankings in those days, the groups will implement their plan and might change the rankings without the knowledge of the third party. It may even be possible for a group that hasn't joined the top 10 since day 1 to become part of the top 3 or luckily, win first place. Speaking of suddenly rising to the top, my previous neighbor, it may be awkward to call him my first friend on a whim, well in fact he really is now in the top 8 rankings with 175 points. Ayanokouji-kun's rankings suddenly skyrocket on the 10th day, outranking the 10th place during that time which is a 3rd year, and then the 9th and 8th afterwards. I personally thought that he would lay low and avoid the spotlight, but his moves this time tells me that he's aiming for the top spot or even first place. He still remains a mystery until now, his overall capabilities are still unknown, and if he really is going all out, as I think it is, then this exam will be the right place to measure it. The person who lives in the shadow must remain in the shadow if they'll get in touch with the light who knows what phenomenon will happen. Just only by acing the university level math exam gives him negative attention to the people around him, well considering how difficult it is, it's likely expected. But what about now? It's an all-out battle between years and he faces it head-on all by himself. But whatever happens, if the odds are on our side, it's possible that Class 2D will snatch 2 of the top spots and give us enough class points to ascend in Class C or possibly Class B. Then it will give us an opportunity to get closer to our dreams. Which is to graduate as Class A. I didn't say it out loud and just kept it to myself. Turning back to the previous area I stepped in. 3 shadows emerged that have been following me behind for quite some time now. What do you want from me? I asked. It may sound rude since I'm talking to my senpais, but I cannot let it pass that they have been bothering me, making me feel uncomfortable just by their presence. Nagumo wanted to ask you something, Horikita-san. Hanakawa-senpai, the acting leader of the group, revealed the group's intention for following me. Using the OAA app as the source to assess the group's strength. I can say that this small group is balanced in terms of academics and physical aspects. Two of the members, the other female and the sole male, the former is a bright student and the latter is an athlete, while Tanakawa-senpai is good at both. For the president to order one of his small group for the purpose of getting in touch with me, it may be something important. What does the president want to know? Since I became part of the student council, I have been calling Nagumo-senpai president and the other members based on their rank in the council. He wants to know if it's true that Ichino-san spent the night with you on the 8th day of the special exam. Huh? I almost showed my surprised reaction, good thing that I somehow controlled it. That's all he wants to know. He risked a certain small group from going to the trouble entailing me, instead of gathering points. It seems that the president has overused his authority a bit this time. But it doesn't matter to me, if he's gonna self-destruct, which I highly doubt, then so be it. He might have some big strategy ahead to at least save the third years from becoming part of the bottom 5. Yeah, why? I replied. Well, the truth is, it's not. I haven't even met Ichinose once in this special exam, so the answer is clear. The reason that I lied to them is because a student in class 2 has suddenly approached me on the 10th day and said that if there's someone that will ask you about something, just say yes. I was baffled at first, confused on the peculiar task I'm being charged with. I didn't get the chance to ask her about that because she quickly left after telling me. I also keep in mind the chance of her not knowing about the details and just following the order of their leader Sakayanagi-san. So it's about Ichino-san, huh? I got wind that something had happened to her, but I didn't think of it since it didn't concern me. The three of them looked at one another after hearing my straight response. I'm confident that they didn't find any gestures and reactions that will give a signal of me not telling the truth. That's all we want to know, sayonara. The three of them turned their back and started walking in the opposite direction, leaving me behind completely done with their business. Sakayanagi-san. No, it's more likely that Ayanokoji-kun has done something behind the scenes again, and as always, he used my name without my consent. I'm gonna make him pay twice if this unknown plan will backfire on me and will turn into a troublesome situation. So for now, I'm gonna spend all my time acquiring points to raise my security in the rankings. When the special exam is over, then I will quickly head over to him and ask about the things behind the scenes. His bounty hasn't taken off yet, I also can't help him since I will only turn it into luggage on his side. Hope you'll survive this time as well, Ayanokoji-kun. In the other part of the island. After being done in the recent task they participated in, Shimazaki-kun and Fukumiya-san started walking towards me, who's leaning behind the tree, shading from the sun's raging heat. Since I didn't stand out and is average on both academics and physical activity, the other two members of our group mostly handle the task we come across aside if one of them is already exhausted. I know I'm a dead weight, so I should not complain about anything and just go with the flow. I don't even understand why I'm being asked to join this group before considering that both of them are from Class A and I'm from Class D. Of course I didn't answer it on the spot and quickly contacted Kiyotaka for some advice. In which he insists that I should take the offer and follow their lead for my own safety. So that sum it up. I wonder how he is right now. I kinda miss him. Before I got swayed away from the sadness, I lightly slapped my cheeks and turned back to my bright expression. What's wrong, Karuizawa-san? Seeing me slapping myself out on a whim, Fukumiya-san asked about it. Oh no, it's nothing. I just almost dozed off cause you know. I then stood up from the ground and stretched my arms. Oh okay, I thought that you got bored since you haven't met anyone from your class for a few days. She was concerned about my mental health because having no one to talk to about something casual and the stress that has built up might affect me, resulting in the decline of the group's performance, or worse, me ending up in retirement. Well, you can open up to me, Karuizawa-san. Don't mind Shimazaki-kun, he won't share anything, right? Fukumiya-san turned her head to the male member of the group, Shimazaki-kun, who quickly nodded without a second thought. Maybe on our way to the next designated area. The three of us then looked into our tablet and found the new given spot for us to go through. Well, we can get through there by walking in the open path. Let's go. Even though this island is mainly covered with thick forest and large mountains, it still has some areas where the bush is dense and has some man-made roads. We then pulled ourselves up and headed there quickly. On our way there, I decided to open up a bit of the things that have been weighing on me lately. There's a guy that I liked. My voice is meek and is only enough for both of them to hear. The two quickly turned their heads to me, I was embarrassed by it. Fukumiya-san's eyes are shining, while Shimazaki-kun has the looks of being curious. Afterwards, he started moving forward, giving us girls the time and space to talk about it. Shimazaki-kun also remembers that he promised earlier to not share a soul about this and is aware that it's a topic strictly for girls only. It's about a guy, huh? Who is it? No, the name is the least important. Oh. Here it is, what's with him? Aside from Shimazaki-kun's understanding personality, Fukumiya-sen also respects my personal privacy and only asked about the problem. We've been close for quite a long time now, but after all of that, he hasn't noticed my feelings. I then shared my personal problem that I haven't opened up to my close friends and has been carrying it for quite a few months now. Really? Is he that dense? Well, it might be possible that he thinks he's not worthy for you, Karuizawa-san, considering that your previous boyfriend is Hirata-kun. As usual, Imsuke's shadow always looms by. Even though Imsuke's relationship with me is fake, to the eyes of others it is true. I was even considered lucky for dating a handsome and smart guy, which most girls in the school dream of. Making my popularity rose over a night and giving me the girl's leader role in the class hierarchy. I already thought about this before and have proven for a long time now that Kiyotaka is far more superior to Imsuke by a large margin. He's still holding back till now, but it's clear that Kiyotaka is capable of anything no matter what aspects it is and might shake the school if he gets serious. For a super smart person to be that naive when it comes to romance, what irony. Maybe I'll confess to him to make him aware that I already sees him as a member of the opposite hex unlike before. No Keibaka Aijiro such as myself should let the guy chase me, not the other way around. But if that's the case, then our relationship won't change. He's been attracting more attention lately and more girls will be aware of how amazing he truly is. Which means more future rivals. I was conflicted on such thoughts and chose to focus on the present, then decide on what to do when such time comes. Maybe you're right, Fukumiya-san, it's likely possible that he noticed my feelings but believes that he's not worthy for me. Whoa. I almost slipped out at that time. Maybe she doesn't have any idea on the person I'm talking about because only a few people know about his first name. Looking at Fukumiya-san, she didn't even have a bit of interest to know his identity. She just lightly tapped my shoulder and gave me a warm smile. Everything's gonna be fine, Karuizawa-san, learn to wait and give him time to muster his courage. Thank you. But that we then try to catch up with Shimazaki-kun, who's been walking hurriedly to arrive in the next designated area. Afternoon. In D9. A small group from the Class 2D students are taking a rest in the shade of green, protecting the group from the blazing sunlight. Sakura, the frail student of the group, leaned behind the trunk of a large tree while fanning herself using her hand. Sorry for holding you guys back since this morning. She apologized to the group for having weak stamina. It was already the third time the group has stopped and taken a rest because Sakura can no longer keep up with them due to being exhausted from all the moving the group has done in the past week. What are you talking about, Irie-chan, we're on this together, right, Miyachi? Haruka glanced at Akito who's checking something on the tablet. Yeah, we can't just leave you alone. Besides, our group is at least far in the red line for now. He paused. Also, we should keep in mind our body and avoid too much stress, the exam has still 3 more days to go, we can't afford to injure ourselves due to recklessness. Akito's fingers then stopped in certain pages of the tablet screen. Haruka clapped at Akito for his wonderful speech and returned to Sakura. You heard that, Irie-chan. We need to look for each other, as Miyachi said. Sakura almost shed a tear which she quickly wipes before it falls. I'm really happy that you guys are my friends. Before the two girls will stand up and embrace each other. Akito almost shouted suddenly because of being shocked. What? Both quickly turned their head on him, confused by his weird reaction. What's wrong, Miyachi? Asked Haruka. Sakura was a bit scared because it's the first time she saw him acting like this. Sorry about that, I'm just truly shocked when I found out about Kiyotaka. Hearing that it's about one of their friends in the Ayanokouji group. The two girls were concerned and quickly pulled out their tablets. Did something happen to Kiyopin? I hope Kiyotaka is okay. The two quickly went into the bottom 10 but couldn't see their friends' names on the list. But Kiyopin is not here. Haruka refreshed her tablet all over again but saw the same result over and over again. Not there in the top ranks. 8. Ayanokouji Kiyotaka 189 points. The two girls are dumbfounded. They couldn't process quickly that Ayanokouji has ascended to such a height without anyone's expectations since his name hasn't been heard in the first week. To explain the reason why the mentioned group haven't noticed Ayanokouji's fast rankings ascending from one spot to another is because they couldn't care less on such a list and put their focus to not fall on the bottom 10 again. So Kiyopin is hiding too much from us. I got the feeling that he's someone amazing the first time we talked, but I didn't expect him to be this much. Kiyotaka is really amazing. Sakura smiles brightly when saying those. She's genuinely happy that the person she likes is safe and doing a great job in the times that they haven't seen each other. Yes, he is. But I'm concerned about Kaisei's reaction to this. They then remembered the conflict not too long ago. The time that Ayanokouji nonchalantly aces the university-level exam that no one in their year has understood the foundation of it. Yukimura has a violent reaction to it, like being betrayed by Ayanokouji for hiding his academic prowess. Good thing that somehow Horikita has managed to handle that situation, lessening the students' doubt on Ayanokouji for holding back by saying that he's the Class D's hidden card. Maybe Kaisei will accept it now. We already have an idea that Kiepin is more capable than he looks like. Haruka assured Akito that everything will turn out to be alright. The group has already dealt with such a situation before, and she's positive that if it will happen again, she's sure that they can handle it. Yeah, let's hope that it's the case. The group then looks on the bright side and moves forward to the future. In another spot. Having stepped foot in the sandy beach of the southern side of the island, I scanned the surroundings and found a beige short-haired girl talking with my classmates Matsushita-san and Satu-san near the shore. My instinct quickly tells me that this person is the one who we've been looking for the past few days, Kikyo-chan. Kikyo-chan. I didn't hesitate in calling her out. The three of them looked towards our direction and had the expression of being surprised and were glad. Oh hey Umai-chan. Waving their hands in the air, they called us out. Let's go. Me and Minami-kun then started walking towards them. Maybe it's Matsushita-san's group that Ayanokouji-kun's talking about when he said that Kikyo-chan is in safe hands. But still, it's quite impossible for Kikyo-chan to not even be concerned about us a bit and spend the whole 3 days in the other group. Matsushita's group didn't even need help in the first place and was doing better in this exam than our group. Maybe she's up to something. No. I needed to shake those negative thoughts. Even though I felt that even anyone that saw her going out in the forest all by herself and coming back dead in the night brings suspicion. Kikyo-chan must have her reason for that. When I'm already close to her, I then quickly spread my arms, giving Kikyo-chan a tight hug. I personally thought that she would also return the hug as usual, but instead, she pushed me strongly and held her right shoulder after with a pained expression written on her face. Ah gammon. Even Matsushita-san's group were shocked by what they saw. Based on Kikyo-chan's reaction, it seems that she got some injury hidden beneath her PE jacket and the other group is not even aware of it. Omen also Mai-chan. I'm just shocked her recent expression has already changed into her usual bright one that everyone is familiar with. I wonder if it's the right choice to ask about the exact date they meet each other. I think it's not. So Kikyo-chan. I was gonna ask about what she's been doing in the past day, but she quickly interrupted me by telling some fabricated lies but realistic if the other party doesn't know the truth. What took you guys so long? Me and Minami-kun turned stiff. We don't exactly know how to respond to her out of the blue question, whether to go along or tell the truth. The moment Matsushita-san and Satu-san turned their heads when hearing a loud noise on the other side of the shore. Kikyo-chan gives us a wink. No, it's likely that it's for Minami-kun. My bad, Kikyo-chan. Me and Mai-chan participated in a task along the way and Kinda spent the rest of the time there. Minami-kun quickly followed up Kikyo-chan's lie, making it believable to the others. What is happening? Hearing the response, Satu-san and Matsushita-san nodded, thinking that we're planning to meet here and it's no coincidence for them to meet Kikyo-chan here alone. The male student from Class 2C then approached us. He is sweating hard after participating in a beach sports task that just recently finished. That was fun. Satu-san then quickly gave him a clean towel and a bottle of water. The male grabbed both of it. He first wiped his face from the sweats and then drank the bottled water empty. Since Mai-chan and Minami-kun are already here, we gotta go, Satu-san and Matsushita-san. Thanks for accompanying me, sayonara. The three of them, including the male from Class C, waved their hands. Anytime, Kikyo-chan. With that, we separated from their group and Kikyo-chan suddenly latched Minami-kun's shoulder, pressing it to her body and started talking casually. I no longer know what is happening currently. Maybe I'm overthinking this and need some good rest when the exam is done. Back to Matsushita's group. Right after the other group went in the other direction. Matsushita and Satu felt something unusual between Kishida and her other members. They wanted to talk about it but hesitated since someone from the other class was present. Even though the student is part of their group, the topic is somewhat off limits because it involves the class internal affairs. Suddenly, Taku placed his hand below his crotch, implying that he needed to go to the loo immediately. I'll be back in a minute. He then quickly dashed to the nearest alternative bathroom in the area. Not even waiting for the girl's answer. That's your fault for drinking the water bottle in one go. Seeing the chance to talk about it safely from the third party. Satu and Matsushita quickly opened up the topic before Taku would come back. You noticed it right, Maya-chan. Matsushita needed to confirm first that both of them are on the same page before tackling the topic. Not to look down on Satu or something, Matsushita is just aware that her friend is not that bright. Yes, Chiaki-chan. I noticed it clearly. Both stared at each other and nodded. Why is Kikyo-chan waiting here since morning if her group is on the way to meet here? Is the task they participated in consuming that much time? Matsushita opened her question to Satu. After analyzing the situation of the things that happened earlier, she realized that Kishida and Minami's story didn't connect with each other that much and has some flaws. She remembered that they first met Kishida, standing alone in the current spot they're in, the time their group was on the way to the second designated area. And then coincidentally, the third designated area of the day is near the shore and they return to the recent place they passed by. Not too long, a task was spotted in the beach itself and then they found Kishida again, not moving from the recent place she's staying earlier. I got the same question, Chiaki-chan. Somehow I got a bad feeling that something is wrong with their group. Satu was concerned about the other group, especially that the three of them are her classmates and has gotten close to them for the past year. There's also the sudden pained reaction of Kishida. Matsushita then draws a conclusion that something bad might have happened to Kishida, which results in her having some injury, without the knowledge of her group, since there's no way Mai-chan will purposely touch it. Knowing that nothing will change in the current situation and also got their own problem to deal with. Both dropped the topic and prayed that the other group would manage to survive the exam somehow. In a particular spot in the island, deep in the forest and has some unusual rock formations all over the place, that one wrong move might cause a lethal injury to anyone. A lone student is walking around, carefree as if they already memorize every piece of structure the area has. Did you already conveyed the message to him? Yes, it's done. Job well done. Turning off the walkie-talkie. The mysterious student then stopped in a certain spot like they usually do after being done with any walkie-talkie businesses. This spot is dangerous as always, but I'm already familiar with it so it's fine. They stared at the slant solid rock which the student believes if they'll lose their balance in the footing, it will be the exact thing that the head will land on. Day 12. The calm before the storm. Day 12. Morning. Another day has yet to start. Upon finishing the morning's breakfast, I then prepared my things and stored it all in the backpack to begin my new journey in this vast wilderness. Gotta start walking. A.N. Top 10 separated by 2, the top 5 1 to 5 place and lower 5 6 to 10 place. Bottom 10 red line. Analyzing the data primarily on the top 10 of the rankings from yesterday. The first 5 have steadily widened the points gap between them and the lower 5, in which I belong. Nagumo and Konji have continued their intense rivalry, fighting for the first spot, changing the first and second position every minute past. There's also the current third placer, a large group of first-year main students, that is waiting for some opportunity to sneak behind the two groups. Following them is the large group of Sakayanagi, that was once part of the lower 5, that quickly ascend to the higher position the time their group merges with Hashimoto's group. The last but not the least is the combination of Ryuin and Katsuragi, the attack and defense duo. Yesterday's tally. Nagumo. 320. Konji. 309. Megami. 290. Ichinose. 285. Ryuin. 260. All of the groups mentioned have 250 points above and the 6th place has only 220, which makes it hard to catch up with them that fast. Not to mention that the groups that aren't part of the top 10 have become more aggressive in securing task slots and early bird bonuses. I even heard rumors that they were striking deals to form a large group with the other small groups whose points are closer to theirs so that the combined points will increase more, giving them the chance to secure a spot in the top 10 or may even join the top 3 if they played their cards right. The current 10th place has 160 points as of now and is a small group of third year, which I believe carries a 2-man additional slot from participating in a certain task the other day. 160 points can turn into 200 points if they'll join the other third-year small groups that are part of the lower 5. Everything is possible in this exam. As for me, I got 199 points and is the current 8th place in the top 10, the sole second year that is surrounded by third years in the lower 5. I was supposed to be in 6th place yesterday afternoon with a 10-point gap to the group behind when suddenly the 9th place got ahead of us by merging with another group. It still has 2 days to gather points, in which the leaders throughout the years will implement their plans. But no worries. I already secured myself and the thing that I'm looking forward to is facing the acting director Tsukahiro on the final day. 3 hours have passed since Ayanokouji's departure from his recent camping site. In the eastern part of the island, Sakayanagi's group has participated in a chemistry test that is worth 10 points for the winner and 5 then 3 points for the next following groups. Hashimoto urges Ichinose and Nishimura to participate because only 2 members within a group is the maximum entry and he is confident in their academic knowledge on the subject. Both then take Hashimoto's word seriously and go towards the particular spot to avoid the non-participants from giving an answer which is considered cheating and will result in a group penalty. Shibata, that person is still tailing us, right? Since Ichinose and Nishimura are already far from them. The three started talking about a certain someone that has been following them for quite a few days till now. Yeah. But he's keeping his distance from us. At first, Hashimoto thought that it's only a coincidence for them to see the location of the same person the second time they used the GPS search. But noticing that it happened at least 3 times per day during the time he used the tracking device for the last 2 days, drives him to a conclusion that they're being tailed. The table between their group and the mystery person are also far from each other, which makes it hard to believe that they'll stumble upon each other for quite a few times now. It may be only one person, but we shouldn't lower our guard till the exam is already over. For someone from a large group to suddenly separate from them and act solo right after the Ichinose's incident happened. It's clear that the person is up to something and their group is the target. Hashimoto, Shibata and Kamuro then prepared themselves when that time came. The 2 males may be athletic and are confident in their stamina, but when it comes to fighting, it's a whole different talk. Even a large guy can be defeated by a much smaller guy just by hitting the sensitive part of the body that can cause a person to lose consciousness and then be knocked out. Aside from the knowledge in human anatomy, there's also the experience in fighting which both of them lack. Shibata is a former football player in middle school and has a good relationship with the people around him, so he's not that exposed to conflict. Hashimoto, who may be a little bit of a delinquent and may experience a few fights during his previous school, was still not confident when fighting someone with unknown abilities. Remembering the tasks Sakayanagi gave to them. They're aware that things won't go well in the following days. Moving a bit faster than my usual pace before, I then arrive at the task site. This is the longest distance that I've walked so far in chasing after the task site on this island. Well, the reason is that most of the sites that I crossed are already closed because they have already reached the maximum limit of entries. I wonder what kind of task it is. Task. Rock climbing. Category. Physical ability. Participation requirements. Enter within 120 minutes of the task's appearance. No. Of participants. 1 member per group. Deadline. After 10 groups has registered. Victory conditions. The student that reached the top first will be held as the winner. Rewards. First placer 20 points. Second placer 15 points. Third placer 10 points. The rewards are definitely high compared to the other tasks that I've partaken in the past few days. Putting in consideration the risk in participating from the mentioned contest. It's understandable that the school offered sweet rewards to the participants for taking the tough and simple yet dangerous competition of rock climbing. I then scanned the place to look for strong rivals and found some interesting groups around the place. There's a small group of Housen. I thought that he and Amasawa had parted ways according to Nanis, but from what I saw now, the whole group is complete. I also saw 2 groups that are part of the current top 10, the 7th place Kiramaya's small group and the 2nd place Soul group, Konji. It looks like one of them is chasing the other as both are sweating bullets, but only the 3rd year was exhausted. Konji then takes off his shirt and bathes the open lukewarm water bottle to his body. Most groups are doing their best to limit their consumption of water as much as possible, but then here's Konji, wasting it in front of everyone. What a guy. Upon knowing the potential groups that will be my opponent in this task, I started walking to the proctor and announced my participation in the contest. I haven't checked the rankings chart for a while now. Maybe this task will give Konji the chance to take the lead again from Nagumo. Not to mention that this guy hasn't felt any stress at all and is still brimming with energy. If he can win, that is. Thing. Ayanokoji Kiyotaka, you're the 10th participant in the rock climbing contest. Therefore I conclude the closing of the task. All participants must gather here for a briefing. Whistle blows. The rest then walked towards us and shifted their gaze to all the other participants, measuring their capabilities through their heads. Aside from me, there's only 1 second year and 1 first year in the crowd. The rest are all 3rd year entrees. Knowing that everyone was already in the area, the proctor then started explaining the rules in full details. Okay, since the sport is too dangerous, we strictly advise the participants to not get in the way of other contestants and stay in their own line. Any form of disturbances to the others when the match is underway will result in disqualification to the group, whether it's done intentionally or not. Take note that it's only 1 game and the prizes aren't that significant compared to the humans' lives. Also, depending on the accident that involves a third party, in case there's one, expulsion is on the table. In other words, I can move freely without the fear of anyone that is thinking to purposely injure me in the process. Unless they're Tsukuhiro's pawn, then it's no laughing matter. No matter how badly Housen wanted to pay back for destroying his plan in the end the last time. He's not that crazy enough to attack me in the open. That guy still prioritizes attending the school over expulsion. When the proctor was done in explaining the rules. We then go to the edge of the mountain and wear the protective gear, which includes helmet and the long strong nylon ropes, securely tied in the player's belly, then to each of their own finish line. Holding the rocks tightly beneath my palm, I then prepare myself for the event that will begin soon. Bang. The sound of the gun then echoed in the air, announcing the start of the rock climbing contest. Each of us participants then started climbing the slippery and steep mountain at our own pace. I first make sure to check my footing first before ascending to the upper level, because not all edges are stable, some easily break into pieces. Still moving slowly, I glanced at the other participants, then found that Konji and Housen had taken the lead, moving upwards at a hasty pace. Knowing that it will only hurt me to not start matching their pace, because the more I leisurely take my time, the wider the gap will be in the long run. I quickened my movement and focused my eyes in analyzing the accurate rock to hold and step to, wherein I can confidently ascend to the top without the fear of falling for a poor decision. Not to mention that my body is heated up, which means that I can release my full strength in this contest. Slow and slowly I have closed the gap between me and the two others. I look down and notice that the rest of the third years haven't changed gear yet, or should I say that they're having a hard time moving from one rock to another, except for Kiramaya, who's currently the fourth student for now. Left right left right left right. The time we reached the middle part of the cliff, everyone began to slow down as the edges became more difficult than before. The number of unsteady rocks has increased, and there are areas that need acrobatics or else you can't move forward. I gotta be careful. The other two also slowed down a bit and checked the edges first before pulling themselves up. Keep in mind the danger if one is gonna fall from this height. Looking up, I then reached the hard to ascend part. I stretched my left arm reaching for the rock edge as much as possible. The moment that I felt it in my palm, I then used more strength, grabbing the edge tightly. When I already secured myself, I then pulled my body upwards to step in the previous rock that I held earlier. But before I step on it, both of the edges that I'm grabbing and stepping in my right side break, causing my right arm and both legs to hang in the air, almost falling my entire body during the process. Phew. Good thing that my left arm didn't let go and continued grabbing the edge tightly. Seeing an accident that almost happened, the proctor then announced using the megaphone. Don't rush or else you'll fall. Depending on the height and the impact, the least you'll suffer is a long back injury. Geez, I know. Since my current situation causes me to waste a few precious minutes to be able to bounce back. Konji is able to create the noticeable gap again, while Housen is also struggling to move forward. Swinging my body carefully, I then plan to use the momentum of the swing to reach the other rock edges, which I believe is sturdy enough to support my weight. Don't act recklessly. Wave your hand if you'll choose to surrender, the professionals will get into you within a few minutes. Lots of advice was heard below, but I paid it no mind then. Wash. Using the edge that I'm currently holding to add more force, I then pushed myself upwards, kicking the air and spreading my arm, reaching for the other edge that I'm planning on. Phew. That was close. The people below were scared of the stunt that I pulled and were glad that nothing happened. Participants number 10. I then raised my left leg, stepping into the recent stone I held, then I regained my footing. Since I already passed through the obstacle. My movement then becomes faster and the finish line is within sight. As expected, I didn't manage to win the task and it was Konji who arrived there first. That was a splendid acrobatic, Ayanokoji boy, too bad you're up against me, Fufu. I didn't reply to him and he then started going down. Well, gaining the second prize is fairly enough for me because at least I still managed to secure a spot despite having a hard time on my way here. Having the smaller body mass gives me the advantages over him in this contest, but Konji will be Konji, having an unmeasured and unrivaled raw strength. I turned my gaze to the new participant that arrived at the top and found the furious Housen, exhausted, gasping for air. Afterwards I then followed Konji to the bottom, holding the rope tightly then jumping downwards carefully. When I reach the surface, I take off the rock climbing equipment and move to the area where I charge my tablet. There I was greeted by none other than the little devil Amasawa. The troublesome one has come. Oh hey senpai. She shows me her usual mischievous smile and forwards a clean white towel that I don't have the slightest idea where she gets it. I only nodded and walked past through her. Why my senpai, are you shy to use a girl's towel, or you perhaps wanted this cute kohai to wipe that hot sweat off yours? She stared at me with a bewitching gaze while licking her lips when saying those questions. Knowing that she won't stop unless I confront her, I then decided to hear her out. What business do you have with me? I tried to change my tone to imply that I don't have time to waste. Oh, there's really nothing, senpai. I just wanted to say how amazing you are during the task, that's all. After that, Amasawa started walking towards her group but suddenly stopped midway and turned her head to me. Senpai. Now what? I forgot to say that this towel belongs to you. Mind if I have it, pretty please. I don't have the slightest idea if she's talking the truth or just wanted to take my time. The only thing that I'm conscious of right now is the people that hear what Amasawa said. I was conflicted on how to respond to not sound like a creep, whether to just ignore her by giving her the towel which she claimed to belong to me, or grabbing it back from her. Already entertained, Amasawa then stopped the teasing. Just kidding senpai, no matter how much I adore you, I won't go to such measures. Afterwards, Amasawa then continues walking to her destination and I also go towards mine. Somehow I noticed that there's something written in the tablet screen itself. It must be some sort of message. Around 4 p.m. Several students are exhausted from chazzing after a lone student who's not even tired and having fun seeing their pitiful state. They're still up to another round, Fufu. Just you wait, you arrogant brat. Evening. 11 p.m. In the open tent primarily used by the school faculty, Chabashira and Hoshinomiya first put the important documents to somewhere safe before heading to each of their own respective tents. Looks like your boys has been moving well, Sei-chan. She paused. Honji-kun and Ayanokouji-kun, was it? Hoshinomiya said it in a hexy tone, giving Chabashira the impression that she's plotting something. Get away from my students, She-chan. How scary, Sei-chan. But you can't force them to stay if they want to change class, wasn't it? Then I will make sure that it won't happen. Good luck then. An hour has passed since the previous scene. Somewhere in the island, a lone student was sitting outside the tent waiting for a certain someone to arrive. Yo. So you have come. Aware that it's already dead in the night and there's another tiring day to go by tomorrow. They then proceed into business. Let's get in business then. Day 13. Encirclement. At the same time, during the moment Nanis confronted Ayanokouji, the first-year leaders were meeting up with each other in a certain block to discuss the future plan. The following students present are Housen, Yagami, Riku, Ayataka and Sakurako. Nana-san hasn't come back, yes? Ayataka asked them. It was already everyone's knowledge about a particular peculiar stuff going on in the island. Which is the same movement between two people that belong from two different groups, Ayanokouji and Nanis. Both are also from different years and have no reason in accompanying each other because they are supposedly enemies in this special exam. But despite the questionable fact that raised suspicion on them, only a few groups cared about them and focused on their group's affairs instead of minding other people's business. There's also the possibility of them hiding their abilities from each other, causing them to not use their full strength in the task, holding back because one is eyeing the other's movement every day. Backstabbing each other is also an option which lessens their threat to the other groups, especially to the third-year lead by Nagumo, because of the bounty on Ayanokouji's head. On the contrary, the participants of the secret ongoing special exam exclusively for a few chosen first years cannot let such an opportunity go. The intel Nanis acquired from staying close to their target plays a significant impact upon understanding the student named Ayanokouji Kiyotaka and will increase the success rate of the plan ahead. Nanis-san will arrive here soon, Ayataka-kun. Yagami replied to the annoyed Ayataka. What's taking that bitch so long? Housen's patience has run out and punched his other palm, implying that he can no longer wait. Before everyone will take their leave and the time used from waiting will amount to nothing. Sakurako, the one who called the class representatives, then started the meeting. Let's start the meeting. The other four turned their heads to her and listened. On the morning of day 13 we will trap Ayanokouji senpai and force his retirement. You mean by using force, Sakurako-san? Yagami asked. The person being asked looked at him and replied in a strict tone. Do you have any better ideas, Yagami-kun? Yagami then lowered his head, not responding to her. Then shut up. How do we trap Ayanokouji senpai? Ayataka asked. Here's what we'll do. After being done with her explanation, a long silence was heard due to them analyzing the plan thoroughly. So in other words, Housen-kun will take care of him, isn't that what you mean, Sakurako-san? Yes. You're fine with handling that task, right, Housen-kun? Hell yeah. I'll beat that bastard's boring face until no punk can ever recognize him. Following this, the rest stood up and were planning to leave, not until Sakurako called them again. Wait. She paused. Don't say a single word about the plan to Nana-san. I don't trust her a bit. Sakurako didn't say it lightly but the opposite. She couldn't overlook the possibility of Nanis changing sides on Ayanokouji after staying with him for a long time. A person worth 20 million points should not be underestimated. Doesn't that apply to all of us, Sakurako-san? Ayataka retorted back to Sakurako, saying that if not for having the same goal, then this meeting wouldn't have happened in the first place. Exactly, but she's the most suspicious of all. Then what the hell do you want me to do with her, huh? Ask your other member, I'm confident that even she can think of a fake plan. That chick, huh? Sure. To the present time. Day 13. Morning. At exactly 6 o'clock in the morning, I got up from my tent and quickly packed up the camp and started heading into the woods. Albeit that today's first designated area will be given in an hour later. Not to mention that there's also the chance that I might coincidentally step foot there the time it's given, only getting the arrival points or passing by it, then going back afterwards or worse, walking in a different path far from the area missing it, because the first spot is a random one, but gathering points are irrelevant for now. I need to keep moving or else I'll force myself out. Opening up my tablet and then using one point to locate every participant's current location on the island, I found the path where I should head to. Looks like they haven't moved since yesterday, and one particular small group doesn't cooperate with the formation. I should use this to my advantage. I put my tablet back inside the bag to make sure that it won't fall during the situation that will occur soon, and take out the tool that I highly needed to increase the chance of my survival. Buzz buzz buzz. Upon knowing that the walkie-talkie that Nanis gave yesterday was working, I then walked towards the intended place. 10 minutes before Ayanokouji departed. The 13th day of the uninhabited island exam has arrived. It was also the promised day where me, together with the other first years, will launch our big-scale attack on the target. But for the last few days, a few things have changed. Instead of forcing Ayanokouji senpai's retirement for the bounty, our new purpose is to stop him from ascending to the rankings any longer and then seal his fate before he might be part of the top 3 or has the chance to join hands with the other second-year groups. Also, I changed some minor details of the original plan, on which only me and Riku-kun knew, in order to get rid of the other student for revenge. If things played out well, I might accomplish all my goals. Taking my tablet out of my backpack, I then do a GPS search. Wait. If I remember correctly, I think this is not the area where Ayanokouji senpai set camp in the evening. I've been monitoring Ayanokouji senpai's movement the time the school allows us to use the tracking system and notice that he always moves around 6:50 in the morning, aside from the incident that happened where they headed earlier looking for the culprit. Grabbing quickly the walkie-talkie, I then informed the small groups from my years that joined the solo group annihilation plan to cover the true operation, which is the ongoing special exam for Ayanokouji senpai's expulsion, that the target has began to move earlier than we expected. Only the leaders of each class and chosen few know about the bounty to avoid the leakage of the special exam to the upper years. Bravo as in. Sakurako's message then quickly connects to the tents that were surrounding Ayanokouji's most recent campsite, 3 blocks away from it. A few of them didn't answer immediately, which gives her an idea that they're still asleep due to all the moving yesterday to lock the target. Bravo, come in. Sakurako said in an angry tone to imply that it's something important. All the students that were carrying the walkie-talkie then answered. Most of them yawned before responding. Wow, what? Yes, Sakurako-chan. They. She clenched her fist for being frustrated because of how carefree some of the groups are, mostly those from class 1D. The target has begun to move, proceed with the plan. Roger that. I'm still strolling in the silent forest, blind of all sides because I kept my tablet inside the backpack. I then trust the only thing that I'm holding in my hand right now, the walkie-talkie. After a few distance of walking, a voice was then heard coming out in the communication device. Senpai, they're on the move. It was the voice of Nanis. After what happened to us, she takes the role to be my spy on her year and reports any movements that will involve me in this island exam. She has been doing her work well without anyone suspecting her and even does the trouble in providing me with a walkie-talkie for the purpose of communicating with her easily. I didn't reply to her and dashed straight to the spot where I looked earlier. After all, I'm confident in my running speed as long as there's no obstacles that will stand in my way. Time passed and I lost count on how many trees and bushes I had passed by. There's also some closed and open tents that are either still sleeping or having their meal or are in the process of packing the tent and going to the designated area. I then come to a halt when a small group has stood in my way and were expecting my arrival. We need you to come with us. A13.1. The President's Invitation. This happened before Nanis contacted Ayanokouji. Because of the huge disappointment done by Kiriyama's large group and the 6 free groups that were assigned to stop Konji from gaining points yesterday, that ended with a failure. Nagumo changes his plan to confront Ayanokouji. Instead, on the final day of the island exam, he moves it 1 day earlier to save the last day, solely for Konji. He even assigned those free groups that shared the same table with Ayanokouji to contact him as soon as possible, even by moving at night. But bad news is that Ayanokouji purposely missed his last designated area to mislead the first years from predicting his moves at the last minute. This caused the free groups to be unable to get in touch with him and asked permission from Nagumo to hold the task till the next morning, in which he approved. The other years only witnessed Nagumo slacking off in this exam by playing on the beach and ordering his minions to do the work, but the third years knows that he's been keeping an eye on everyone on the island, especially those that he thinks has the potential to become a threat to him. He doesn't need to do the plan himself, since his strategy mostly revolves around using his authority that controlled the whole year with the palm of his hand. By making a large group composed of all outstanding individuals, he no longer cares on who's doing this at that in any task they'll cross. All he needs to do is lead his group to victory by giving orders to the third-year students throughout the island, either for intel or delaying the other years by getting in their way. Right after he woke up, he quickly does his usual routine, which is checking the tablet, but this time only the GPS search, because the ranking chart has been prohibited. The most recent rankings yesterday were me in the first, that Kaki Konji in the second, third is the second-year large group, and fourth is the first-year large group, then the fifth is Kiriyama's newly formed large group. Due to all the running after Konji the other day, Kiramaya's group has joined task by task blindly just to catch up with that bastard, while the other free groups are waiting for him in a distance, but still couldn't stop that man. The small group that Kiriyama merged luckily comes across a task that gives a huge amount of points and manages to gain first place. Ayanokouji has steadily ascended to the top faster than I expected. From a nobody in the first week into becoming part of the top 10 just after 2 days in the start of the second week. So he's still aiming for the top despite hearing the warning from me firsthand. If he truly is an exceptional student that deserves the acknowledgement of Horikita senpai, this time I will know. I still couldn't accept him until I witnessed it in my own eyes. The me, who accomplished lots of things including raising to class A by my leadership, becoming a part of the student council, crushing the lower classes' dreams by widening the points gaps every time, having the fate of the whole year by my hand, and lastly becoming the first student council president who starred in class B in the first year, was not acknowledged by that man, who I only respected in the school. But a freshman suddenly emerges, who, aside from having quick feet and only has a good look, was suddenly acknowledged by Horikita senpai without any further reasons. I had spent almost a year observing that guy, but I still couldn't measure his capabilities. Even if he'll act like a fool as usual, I will force him to show it. The time all the students' locations were shown on the screen. I noticed that a large herd of first year is currently encircling him. The circle is also getting small, but it seems that there's a group that was delayed, or should I say a flaw in the plan. There's no mistaking it, Ayanokouji is their main target because of the bounty. He's my prey, you fools, I can't let you have him. I then saw one of my free groups on the screen. I didn't waste any second and quickly contacted them because the small group is currently standing in the path he's heading. I was running hurriedly to reach the whole of their formation before it would be formed, but a small group of third-year students were unexpectedly standing in my path. We need you to come with us. I sighed first before giving my response. Why should I? I should not even ask about the details because the answer is clear since the beginning I stumbled on them. It only means one thing, Nagumo wanted to confront me. Choosing which poison I'll pick from either of the two. I'll take the one that's facing me right now. This current situation will delay my business for the first year. Nagumo must be thinking of using this once-in-a-blue-moon chance to measure my abilities, to prove if I'm worthy to be Manabu's replacement. So it's clear that he wanted to compete with me by the tasks that are spread on the island. Even if I miscalculated and didn't expect him to choose violence, it's not like I can't protect myself and will change the tide. Nagumo wanted to meet you, fast. I then stopped resisting and answered with a nod. They turned their heels and moved in the other direction, in which I followed them behind. Adjusting the volume of the communication device, only enough for me to hear. The voice of Nanis was come out and says. They've stopped moving, senpai. Seeing some unexpected group on the screen that is currently standing in the same spot as the target, Sakurako immediately orders them to stop pursuing Ayanokouji for now. We have another party in the area. Retreat for now. Wait for further order. A13.2. Trampling the pride. Still following them a few steps behind, the hike was filled with nothing but silence. Aside from the invitation earlier, no other conversation followed, and the four of us just kept walking, wandering in this vast place. There's a few times that one of them turned their head, not to check whether I'm still there, but because they're confused and find my presence uncomfortable. Which gives me the impression that they haven't received any other information from Nagumo aside from the order. I didn't expect Nagumo's wariness for me to become a handful in today's situation. Moreover, the clock is ticking, meaning that there's no second to lose. If he were aiming for the first place, now's the right time to hoard lots of points, considering that his group and Konji's points are approximately close. Well, it's within a shadow of doubt that his other members can handle the tasks by themselves without him. Giving him the peace of mind and putting all of his focus on me, but it's an absurd move in this significant time. I arrived at the conclusion that he just wanted to show off. In sight. The possibility of him using this particular small group to delay me from gaining points by going full circle around the island is low. I just recently checked his location to make sure and found him still staying in the same block since my first time using the GPS tracking. Meanwhile, the previous pursuers have stopped on their track and kept their distance on me for a while now. I looked into the time, then saw that 10 minutes more and the first designated area will be given. This will give me an opportunity to predict their next moves. It's either they will still hold their ground till the last minute or will completely abandon the plan, then switch to gathering points due to the interruption. Both options have their ups and downs. Choosing the former gives them the highest odds to catch me, but will risk those groups that are in dire need of points to descend further. On the other hand, the latter decrease their numbers and only those with the same table or closer to mine to be part of the chase, but will probably avoid the lower rankings. But whatever the option they'll choose is, I won't allow them to have an opportunity and continue resisting at the last minute. I still don't have the information on the name of the student that is leading this large-scale operation that goes beyond the classes with one purpose, my retirement. But I'm gonna find out about it soon. Thing. The tablets then rang, notifying us that it's already 7 in the morning, in other words the start of giving the designated area for today. All of us then opened the tablet and looked at the map. I don't know about theirs though nor have any interest in knowing it. My guess I'm on the wrong path. I'd already given up chasing the designated area the moment I heard of the operation yesterday. Or should I say there's no need for me to chase after it. The four of them also didn't change track and still continued heading to the place where Nagumo is currently in. Time passed and there I saw the figure of Nagumo standing in the place, grinning widely welcoming my arrival. "Here you are, Ayanokouji." I only responded with a nod and scanned the other students that were surrounding the place. 1 2 5 7 10. Excluding Nagumo and Asahina senpai, there's 10 other male students that are present. The moment the OAA app was introduced, I took my time in familiarizing every student's face and name, not only in the first years but in all the years. They are a combination of students from class 3C and 3D. All of them are part of 5 different small groups, meaning only 2 members are present here in each group and the remaining one may be heading to the designated area. "They didn't hurt you, right?" Asahina senpai asked. I'm not sure if her purpose is for formality's sake, since I'm being forced to follow them here, or if she's genuinely worried about me. Haha, of course not. Right, Ayanokouji. Nagumo passed through me and tapped my shoulder. Then whispered. "Don't act like a stranger on Nizuna. I know all of it." He expressed the sentence like he saw through us a long time ago and just decided to overlook it, thinking that it's not worth the attention. I guess Nagumo and I are on the same page. I don't hold Asahina senpai more than just a person that will provide me with intel about the third year's affairs because Nagumo will eventually catch wind of us and it's inevitable in the first place. And if he's telling the truth right now, then so be it. "What business do you have with me, Nagumo?" I didn't respond to his question, instead I asked him bluntly about it. "As usual Ayanokouji, no honorifics, but it's not important. For your question, I want you to entertain me." His gaze is now staring at mine. Those 2 blue eyes are full of enthusiasm and gives me the impression that he won't let me escape until I will feed his satisfaction. What can a lone student such as myself do against the unrivaled president? There's really no need to long this conversation in the first place. All I have to do is say yes. And the match between me and him will start, but there's no harm asking about it. I'm gonna let him show off this early because I'm confident to say that I will have the last laugh. Nagumo grinned widely, hearing my sarcastic compliment. Haha, that doesn't sound like you, Ayanokouji. A person that gained the acknowledgement of that man can't be just a person. You must possess something extraordinary that makes him choose you over me. I don't have the least amount of interest in such a fact nor wanted to boast about it. The only thing I have on Manabu is nothing but respect over his overall capabilities, despite not growing in special environment, such as the White Room. Nagumo still can't move on from his rival's shadow and is now trying to project him to me. Furthermore, it's already too late to stay low for now, so I'm gonna give him the match that he desires. How do we do this? We don't share the same table, so it's bound that we're gonna go our separate ways. I'd already made my own hypothetical answer on the current situation, and it's definitely clear that I'm on the losing side. Easy. You just need to intentionally miss the designated areas. After all, you can't do anything about this besides accepting whatever your fate is, Ayanokouji. Even if you're thinking of escaping from my grasp, I won't let you. The fact that he purposely surrounded me with his minions is enough proof that he won't hesitate in using force just to put me in line. I see. I no longer gave another response and returned the stare on him. I clearly gave him the impression that I completely accepted the proposal without any plan in running away from him. Asahina senpai's face was crestfallen and clenched her fist due to being unable to do anything about my current situation. Receiving my message, Nagumo's grin reached his ears while spreading both of his arms. That's the look that I wanted to see, Ayanokouji, then let's go. He gestured to the other students to start moving to the island. 5 of them quickly dashed in different directions. It drives me to the conclusion that they are assigned to look for tasks, then report back. I don't know about Asahina senpai though. I thought that Nagumo just wanted to show her in front about the revelations, but unexpectedly she's been walking in the same direction as us. I told you already, Nazuna, that I won't harm Ayanokouji. So get out of here. I guess she's genuinely worried about me. Asahina senpai has been together with Nagumo for almost 3 years till now, so she knows him very well on the things that he's capable of. I don't trust you, Miyabi. I'm aware how eager you are to fight him. I don't have a tiny bit of idea about the reason for Asahina senpai's aggressive behavior towards Nagumo right now. As far as I'm aware, sometimes she disobeyed him but still chose the welfare of the class over her pride. For a person to act like that, something must have happened before that I'm not aware of. Maybe in the past or unexpectedly, it's because of me. Either way, in case they decide to gang me up, it's better for her to not be present here or else she will be caught in the fight. I guess I needed to assure her. Don't worry, senpai. I'm gonna be fine. I turned my head to her, showing her how serious I am on my words. Ah. Before she could reply, Nagumo interrupted with a mocking laugh. The haha, is that your last word, Ayanokouji? How sweet, haha. Asahina senpai's mood was supposed to become better earlier, but Nagumo just made it much worse than before. Then be careful, Ayanokouji-kun. She then started walking towards me, but Nagumo blocked her from getting closer. Not on my watch. He shakes his head. I gotta go on my way then. She then waved her hands and started walking in the other direction. Nagumo's head has been on the top lately and was enjoying the current situation. Don't you have any good luck message for me, Nazuna? Haha. He continues laughing at her, but the other person only ignores him and continues walking in the other direction. A moment later her figure can no longer be seen in the place, and then we continued our search for any tasks along the way. Nagumo also picks up where we left earlier. So Ayanokouji. In sight. What now? How does it feel to have the pretty girls flocking around you? Nagumo expressed the statement like he was belittling me, but I can tell that he was jealous. What do you mean? I asked. Again, don't act like you don't know about it. First Suzune, second Honami, then now, Nazuna. How lucky of you, hahaha. I don't really understand why everyone thinks that there's something going on between me and Horikita in the past. Regarding Ichinose, I guess things have been going smoothly for now. But for the last female mentioned, I don't know what is happening. It's also likely that Nagumo is bluffing and just wanted to waste time in random chatter. But I won't deny that you're too handsome for a boy up close, and that's all it is. This time his casual tone becomes heavy and serious. I warned you, Ayanokouji. If you won't take this match seriously, then I'm gonna crush you. He looked at me with a grave expression. Implying that playtime is over and he's gonna show me what the current student council president is truly capable of. Very well, because I'm also going to show a glimpse of the reason why I'm worth 20 million. I only returned the stare and didn't have any plan in giving a response. We continued staring at each other's gaze until it was cut off when Nagumo's walkie-talkie buzzed. He raised his occupied hand and answered the call. Here's an open academic category task 2 blocks north side away from you. Better get moving, there's only 3 more available slots left. Roger. Also make some effort so that the empty slots won't be filled before we arrive, yes. Nagumo didn't even do the effort in hiding his rage, and I'm pretty sure that the other line felt it. He didn't wait for an answer and quickly cut the call. He then gestured to me that we're heading there, and together with his guards, we started walking towards the intended designation. Having stepped into the task site, we saw different groups present in the area, ranging from the first years to the third years. Nagumo then glanced at the student that reported earlier and gave us a thumbs up. Moreover, he's currently talking to Hiyori, stalling her as much as possible, preventing her from participating before us. I remember a talk that Hiyori's group and Ishizaki had merged, making another large group of second-year students. But I couldn't find him beside her nor anywhere in the crowd. I then checked the tablet and read the whole description of the task. Task. Sentence completion. Category. Academic ability. Participation requirements. Enter within 30 minutes of the task appearance. No. Of participants. 1 person only, 1 person in the group can enter. Deadline. After 10 people have registered. Victory conditions. The participant who scored the highest points in the test will be held as the victor. Rewards. First place. 10 points. Second points. 5 points. Third points. 3 points. Young. Before Hiyori will get ahead of us first. Me and Nagumo then approached the proctor and announced our task's participation. Thing. Ayanokouji-kun and Nagumo-kun, the two of you are the 9th and 10th participants of the task. Please be there for further details. He pointed at the shaded area of the place where 8 students are staying there, which is the other participants of the mentioned task, in other words our opponents. The proctor waves his hand to the other staff, telling them that the slot is already full, meaning that the task is now officially closed. Mine and Hiyori's gaze then meet each other. She only showed me a bright smile and left the task side upon knowing that she's too late to participate. Let's start. Each of us opened the registered tablet and then the quiz questions were displayed on the screen. 1. The S charitable actions were a proof of his goodwill and A. Physician manners. B. Polygamist loyalty. C. Philanthropist benevolence. B. Misogynist kindness. Reading the following choices, the letters B and D are clear to be out because the word's definition contradicts each other, making the sentence an error. Leaving the letters A and C in the table. So now, a physician is a medical doctor and a philanthropist is those that promote social welfare to others, mostly through charity. The former is more in the medical field while the latter is in society. Then the answer is clear, letter C. I tap the letter C button then scroll to the next number. Time passed and the task has reached its end. Everyone then stopped answering the quiz and pressed the submit button to be checked. It didn't last a minute for the scores to be given and the result is, me and Nagumo tied in the first place, with a score of 50. The task rules didn't mention anything about tied scores, so both of us are officially the victor, receiving the same amount of points. Not bad Ayanokouji. But this will be the last time. Another student then reached out on Nagumo and we again started heading to where the next task is. After a few exhausting trips around the island, time flew past and it's already 1:35 in the afternoon. I also lost count on how many cutthroat tasks we had competed, but it always ended in my victory. The most humiliating one was when I one-hitted him in a one-on-one dodgeball on the beach. I was supposed to not overexert the strength of the throw, but didn't because of Nagumo's constant nagging. I was originally aiming for the face that time, but changed the trajectory towards his stomach because the faster Nagumo decided to surrender or might retire, the faster the first year would launch their attack again. Nagumo's mood is unexplainable right now, like even if a leaf falls right into him, he will cut it into pieces and go on a rampage. I also noticed that the students that's with us have been looking in the surroundings from time to time, giving me the idea that things won't end well this time. So what's next? I decided to break the ice over the heavy intense atmosphere, then walked ahead of them. Since the sun is at its peak, I saw Nagumo's shadow crouches and picks the broken branch on the ground. Then he slowly approaches me and swings the branch that he's holding with full force, aiming to hit my head. I moved my body to the side, dodging the attack and pushing him strongly causing him to fall into the rocky ground. I stared at his pitiful state and said, "Are you already that desperate, Nagumo?" The 5 students earlier suddenly became 10. They quickly surround us, but the target is me, preparing to attack if given the order. I noticed that some of their wristwatches were not working since there's nothing on the screen, meaning they purposely break it. I returned my gaze on Nagumo and large veins were clearly seen in his forehead. This is the first time that someone looked down on me this low. Even Horikita senpai didn't see me as a mere thing. You will suffer the consequences, Ayanokouji. I won't stop attacking you on all sides, even those close to you will be part of my target. After all, you're just a puddle compared to me, who's already at the top. He screamed all of his frustration for being defeated by me, one-sidedly on everything we take part of. He may think that he can easily handle me head-on because of his experience against Manabu, who he can compete toe-to-toe with. But got frustrated upon realizing that I'm on a different scale in comparison to him and his rival. Nagumo then started to stand up, but I swiftly pushed him again and he landed on the ground. Guess who's on the ground right now? The other third years didn't say any words and just continued watching us. Let me give you one piece of advice, Nagumo. You mentioned that you're already at the top, right? Then that means that's all you're worth. I paused. There's still a number of higher mountains behind you that you haven't witnessed and no matter what you'll do, you can't climb it. Because that's all you're worth. I mentioned the worth part again to grave it into his head that he's nothing more than a mere existence to me. It was truly a disappointment. I thought that the current president had some grand strategy against me or at least entertained me in our competition. But sadly, there's nothing. All I saw is a desperate man that will resort to blinded violence if driven out of complete frustration. Since it has come to this, I no longer have a reason to stay here. I then turned my back on him and started walking again to the forest. Nagumo only clenched his fist silently, still sitting on the ground. If he's planning to attack me again then I will counter and force his retirement. The students that were blocking my way then opened the path, making me go through them without any form of resistance. What happened here may cause a disruption in the third year. The fact that Nagumo suffered an utter defeat against me will be known throughout the campus, affecting both of our social status in the future. A13.3. Dangerous Duo. It was a pleasant day where the sun was shining brightly and the white azure sky was clear. But it was the other way around for all the students throughout the island. The tension has gradually increased to each group, gathering as many points as possible before the curtain of the uninhabited island exam falls. We too, despite having a good footing in the rankings yesterday, needed to step up our gear for the last 2 times to compete and have the chance to be part of the top 3 final rankings. Yosh, we can do this. I muttered to myself, clenching my fist preparing for the battle ahead. The other group members then looked at me. Nishimura-san laughed while the other 3 just showed a smile. Let's go, Ichino-san. Nishimura-san then held my arm and then we started heading to the next task site, led by Hashimoto-kun. I can pinpoint what the reason is, but I noticed that both the boys and Kamuro-san are uneasy after Sakayanagi-san's call just recently. It drives me to the conclusion that they just received an undesirable news regarding something and still haven't processed it completely. I wonder what it is all about. Supposedly, me and Nishimura-san have the right to know about it because we, as well, are part of the group. Sakayanagi-san must be up to something for not telling me about such information, or it might be that it's not preferable for me to hear about it. This all began on the 9th day of the exam, the time when I came back to them after being chased by the acting director and Shiba-sensei the other day. I got the feeling that they're hiding something behind my back and started keeping tabs on me all day, not giving me an alone time all by myself. No, it's too rude to say that since they're only worried that another thing might happen to me like last time, but even so, things like accompanying me into the loo. Always keeping me in the middle when we're traveling and some whispered or should I say group discussion that I'm being left out were too much for me to not be conscious about what's happening behind the scene. I wanted to ask any one of them, especially Shibata-kun since we belong to the same class, but didn't because I'm expecting an order from Sakayanagi-san to not breathe a word about it specifically to me. They have been scanning the surroundings from time to time, checking each sides and corners for whatever reason that is. Also, I haven't looked at the group's current points since yesternight. We had only successfully joined one task for the time being because most of the sites we visited were already full. And our group also failed in the particular task, so our points haven't grown aside from the arrival points in the designated area. I then opened my tablet, navigating towards the group's profile while conversing with the group. Hey, Nishimura-san. I called her. Ichino-san. She responded. Do you guys have any plans for our stay on the cruise ship? I opened the topic about the things that each of us are planning during our vacation days. With this we can plan to hang out or invite those that don't have one to fully enjoy it instead of just staying alone in their room, wasting the rare chance of creating various memories in a luxurious cruise ship. Oh, I remember that we're gonna check out the shopping corners with the girls, then visit the pool afterwards. Nishimura-san paused. What about you guys, Hashimoto-kun? The baton was then passed to Hashimoto-kun, who's walking ahead of us, together with Shibata-kun. Well, I'm gonna take a good rest first, but haven't thought of the days ahead. About you, Shibata. He turned his head to Shibata. The person being asked then slightly scratched the back of his head, embarrassed. I'm gonna meet with someone. The place became silent for a moment. After that a sudden cheer was released by me and Nishimura-san. Hashimoto-kun also chuckled while Kimura-san doesn't have a slight amount of care about it. Who is it, Shibata-kun? The other girl asked, full of excitement. It was a rare sight for someone famous to the opposite heck such as Shibata-kun to be acting a bit embarrassed when talking about such stuff. I will keep it as a secret for now. This time he avoids our gaze and scratches his cheeks. Wait. Is Shibata-kun blushing? So it's about that, huh? I see. Well, wish you luck, dude. Hashimoto-kun tapped Shibata-kun's shoulder. Thanks. Shibata bowed. I will share it with you guys if it's a success, Shibata chuckled while smiling. Best of luck, Shibata-kun. Whoever it is, I'm sure she's cute. Nishimura-san also gives her wish to him, together with a thumbs up. While Kamuro-san just nodded to him, sending hers, Shibata-kun then responded with a warm smile, understanding what she meant. It was supposed to be my turn, not until I checked our current points and was shocked about it. What the? The rest then turned their gaze towards me. What is going on? I also noticed that the more people card have been used and it's not the person that me and Sakayanagi-san had first planned in our strategic meeting. I didn't hear about this. I then stare at Hashimoto-kun since he's been the one who's leading the group according to Sakayanagi-san's order the time both of our group merged. Why is? I haven't finished my question as he quickly told me to be silent. Shush, somebody might be eavesdropping, Ichinose. This time I finally proved that I, alone, was being left in the dark. Aside from Hashimoto-kun, it seems that the other members are also aware of such a fact but don't have the plan and telling me about it. I'm conflicted on what to feel from knowing it. Should I be happy? Or should I feel betrayed? I don't know. If you have something to ask Ichinose, better go directly to Sakayanagi. I'm just simply following her orders, we also don't know the full details about the sudden change of plan. As expected, it's all based on Sakayanagi-san's strategy. I thought that our class had made an alliance with each other in this special exam. Am I mistaken? I forcefully opened my mouth, wanting to ask about something, but again, Hashimoto-kun quickly cut me off. I'm sorry Ichinose, nobody here can answer your question. Then I decided to give up for now and focus on the remaining days in this exam, then ask about various things to the leader of this group. In sight. I understand. Then we continued walking to the task site, but the light atmosphere was changed into a gloomy and heavy one. I should stop thinking about this. Almost an hour passed and the group then started heading deep in the forest to arrive at the designated area while keeping tabs on the map about the task sites that we may cross on the way there. We'd been walking for quite some time now, but we didn't run across any group nor even felt a human presence across the place. Moreover, the silence of the forest is deafening, giving us the chills by just observing the surroundings. This felt strange for some reason. Nishimura-san muttered. The unfortunate fate that happened to one of the second-year small groups then crossed our thoughts, making us raise our guard in case anything will happen. Nishimura, quickly do a GPS search. She hurriedly opened her tablet and spent a point in the process. There's only one person nearby and she's from class 2D. I thought that it's done since there's no way a fellow second-year student would attack us, but unexpectedly, Hashimoto-kun grabbed her tablet and spent another point checking the surroundings. Still the same result, eh? Hashimoto-kun and Shibata-kun looked at each other with a confused look on their faces. I don't really understand what's going on right now, but this strange atmosphere, not to mention the uneasiness of the other members of the groups, drives me to the conclusion that something bad is about to happen. Is Sakayanagi-san's earlier call related to this? Maybe she warned them that another group has been attacked or heard information that the next target will be our group. Did you see hi? Hashimoto-kun hasn't finished his statement as a lone student suddenly emerges in the shadows, approaching us slowly. Looking for me, senpai. The male student spoke in a gentle tone, but the stuff he was holding tells the other way around. Wait, if I remember correctly, his name is Takuya Yagami. I glanced at his arm that is holding a tree branch, then found that his wristwatch hasn't functioned. So this is the reason why Yagami-kun was not tracked the time we used the GPS search earlier. Why are you following us? Hashimoto-kun spoke in a grave tone. I thought that he would answer the question being asked, but instead he shows us a distorted smile, which is enough to tell us that there's something wrong with this person. Give me, Ichinose-senpai, he ordered. He intentionally let the tip of the branch touch the surface of the ground as he approached us carrying an ominous aura. Me? Why me? Is Yagami-kun part of the people that are after Ayanokoji-kun? I think yes. Because there's no reason for him to target me, aside from the fact that I overheard the plan of the acting director and Shiba-sensei. Ayanokoji-kun's personal life has become more confusing than ever. This must be why he wouldn't open up anything about him, so that nobody will be tangled up on his personal problem. Ichinose, run. Hashimoto-kun shouted. As Hashimoto-kun finished his statement, I once again saw those pairs of terrifying eyes. The other girls are also terrified as Nishimura-san is shaking and falls into her knees. I was gonna help her to stand up, but Kamuro-san suddenly pushed me away from them. Oh now, Ichinose-san. He's after you. I was hesitant to leave them and run all by myself. But my legs move independently on their own, running away from Yagami-kun as much as possible. I'm sorry. It was all because of me that our group has been targeted. I'm really the worst, giving harm to other people's lives because of being involved in another person's affairs. What if I didn't break my watch at that time? Then I wouldn't have heard the conversation between acting director Tsukahiro and Shiba-sensei, right? And this current predicament won't happen in the first place. But then a certain person's life will be put in danger instead. The student that had helped me countless times now. I honestly can't weigh who's more important than who. Is it my group that I'm together through thick and thin in this exam? Or the person that is always by my side when I need it the most? There's no use going back in the past, things have already happened, and I must find someone to ask for help to restrain Yagami-kun before things escalate more. Tears has been dropping in my eyes. It's not like I regret for telling Ayanokoji-kun about it, it's just I felt worried about my group situation right now, facing a person carrying a weapon. Ha 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 ha. Still continues running searching for someone in the deep and vast forest. I went to the direction where Nishimura-san found a student from class 2D. Ha 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 ha. I think I'm already close. Hey oh Ichinose-san. Turning my gaze towards the origin of the voices. I then found a familiar student waving her hands and was running towards me. Kushida-san. I was already tired from all the running, but by seeing Kushida-san, everything's gonna be alright I think. Or so I thought. The time I looked at her again, the bright-natured Kushida-san was nowhere to be found. All I see is a woman with a terrifying gaze and full of ominous aura surrounding her. What is really happening? Is this how my life ends? And the starting point. Still shading herself in the large beach umbrella, Sakayanagi then closed her tablet and whispered. Checkmate. She slowly gets up and takes her time walking towards the school staff's large tent to announce her retirement. A13.4. The betrayal. After Ayanokouji forcefully releases himself from Nagumo's grasp. The first year's hunt on him has continued once again, but it's not the same level of scale as before. The number of groups that are after his retirement has dramatically decreased because of either of the two factors. First is due to the influence of their class leaders, ordering them to return and gathering points, withdrawing their support completely from the operation. Or the second is that the particular group has already given up on it. They cannot risk their group's fate from a doubtful operation that doesn't ensure the group's survival in the least. Class 1 and Class 1B have already taken back their support right after Ayanokouji was taken by Nagumo. On the other hand, the Class 1C has remained on standby on the surface and several groups from Class 1D also did the same. I was thrilled to the core that I didn't get enough sleep last night, waiting for the morning to come. The time that I will have my revenge on that Motherbicker for making me dance on the palm of his hand and even go into the measures from blackmailing me to become his partner in the previous exam. I was gonna do this alone like how I usually have done things since middle school, but this time I learned a lesson that my enemy is not just an ordinary person that can be easily dealt with. The immovable strength that I'd witnessed from before still gives me chills until now. I can't deny the fact that it's my first time feeling that kind of despair from an opponent, it's like I'm against an unknown being that is way stronger than me in any aspect. But instead of cowering in fear, it sends me the temptation to defeat him more and bury his beat-up face in memory, no matter what kind of method I do. Get ready. That bastard only had the upper hand last time because of the evidence, that is the knife that was stuck in his hand, but this time it will be my win. Sakurako's double trap will lead him towards me. By using those minions to encircle him, Ayanokouji will be forced to find a gap in the formation to escape, or he will force his way to go through him. After meeting with him for several times now, I concluded that he will choose the former because he's the type that doesn't want to stand out necessarily if the situation doesn't have to. Sakurako also said the same thing in the first secret meeting done without the presence of Nanis. Amasawa misinformed Nanis that the plan is to trap Ayanokouji in the middle and gang him up afterwards. Ordering a group to be delayed from moving with the rest of the group, a flaw of the encirclement will be shown, then he will take advantage of it. According to the student council president, Ayanokouji is fast on his feet, so it's only a matter of time that he will pass through the gap before the gap will be fixed. Then that's where I'm waiting for him behind that delayed group. I'd already broken my wristwatch so that he won't discover my location and things are moving according to plan, but nobody expects another group is after my prey and worst of all is that they're one step ahead of us. Fuck. I've been patiently following them for quite some time now, waiting for the time that he will be alone so that nobody will witness our brawl. That bastard has unexpectedly overwhelmed the president on whatever the task it is, showing how large the gap of abilities between them. Whether it may be in academic, physical ability or miscellaneous category tasks, he won them all. Even that Shoei Konji couldn't win every contest he participated in, which means that Ayanokouji might be someone greater than him. But there's no need to fear because the stronger the opponent is, the more satisfying defeating them will be. Even though those fools from Class A and B had withdrawn from the plan, me and Sakurako's remaining groups are already enough for this operation. Now's the time, Housen-kun. Roger. I first checked the tablet to confirm it myself, and yes, Sakurako's report is true. Currently, the president's location and his goons are staying in the same spot while the target is moving in the island as shown in the screen, so it means that he'd been released from the pursuer's shackle. At moving, the small groups are already in place. Shut it. The small groups that the other line had mentioned are the remaining groups from my class and her class that were tasked to block Ayanokouji's path, giving me time to catch up with him. They had also destroyed their wristwatches intentionally, so that detection is ineffective from anyone aside from those that knows about the situation. I didn't trust that girl nor her class a bit, but since I got my own goons in this operation as well, I'm confident that they're already set in place. After all, I send a strong warning to those fools that those who dare to betray me won't see the sunshine ever again. I also told them to report any anomaly quickly before I might be trapped. I gotta get going. Since the target and my current position is not that far, I then started jogging there to not waste unnecessary energy for the fight. Just head straight. I've been in touch with Sakurako's for quite some time now. She continues in sending me various instructions about Ayanokouji's location because it's a waste of time keeping tabs on him by myself. 5 meters ahead. I'm close. Just before I passed through a large tree, I then noticed a shadow in the ground. My instinct told me to duck, in which I swiftly followed, then a fist suddenly cut through the wind, almost hitting me on my way. Fuck. I then stopped on my track and looked behind. There I saw a familiar face wearing that infamous grin together with the rest of his henchmen. I mean, did she sell me off? Cuckoo, that was a closed one, musclehead. As expected from this booker, his face is annoying as always. I don't have time to play with you, bastard. I'm after someone right now. I'm fully aware that he won't spare me without a fight, but I need to buy time to assess the situation. I need to know his purpose for attacking me. For a group that has been part of the top ranks to suddenly shift their goals from hoarding points to target me, what a change of heart. Oh, is it? Too bad, this will be your resting place, cuckoo. Why do the people that get in my way start popping out one way or another? Are you protecting him? There's no use lying. I know from my last conversation with Ayanokouji that he and Ryuin had already face-off before. You can't even compare to him as you are right now. I still fully remember that exact line that he blurted out in that incident. The same line that gives me this overwhelming desire to show him what despair truly is for underestimating me. Who? Oh. That guy, huh? He paused. Who cares about that bastard? We're here mainly for you. The air pressure has drastically turned heavy in the area. Ryuin wears a grave expression, and so are his 3 other goons. For us to meet here, even though I'm undetectable, it's not a stretch to think that there's a traitor on my side. Suddenly a voice was released on the communication device that I'm currently holding. Best of luck there, Hasan-kun. So it was you, huh? By the way, thanks for taking care of one of my toys. Ryuin said seriously. Bring it on, you bastards. I take the 4 of you at the same time. I'll crush you like minced meat. Fuku, you're not gonna complain that we ganged you up, yes? But the buck cares, it's not like I haven't encountered the same situation in middle school days. Exactly, then boys, let's get this done with. He ordered. With that, the 4 of them slowly approach me with heavy footsteps. This is gonna be fun. In a particular spot in the island where the ground is steep and rocky, Sakurako Tsubasa is currently staying in the place. Poor Hasan-kun, well, that's my revenge for expelling one of our classmates. Sakurako has made contact with Ryuin through the use of Utamiya in the last few days, giving him an intel that the person who attacked Kamiya's group is Hasan. Of course Ryuin doesn't believe it completely, thinking that it might be some trap, but the burning blood to pay back the assailant of that incident is so strong that he gives her plan a try, in case it's indeed true. There's also a secret contract that both sides agreed on, but without any kind of paper to prove it, so it's an unofficial one. Now it's her turn. Even though the plan to retire Ayanokouji has ended with a failure, Sakurako still continues on her last goal, which is to fulfill her promise to Nanis that she will deal with her. For using 1 point, Sakurako scouted Nanis's location but couldn't find it anywhere on the screen. Maybe Riku-kun already got her? Riku Utamiya, one of Sakurako's classmates that serves as her right hand and errand boy since the start of the school year. He mostly followed her orders without any kind of objections, especially if it's for the benefits of the class. But I haven't sent him my permission yet. Like Nagumo, she is acting as the main leader of the first year, but only in the other ongoing special exam, which is the bounty. Her task is to send instructions to everyone and keep tabs on the target. Still pondering on what to do. She noticed that someone wanted to get in touch with her through the walkie-talkie. Who is this? Due to her habit of walking when having someone on call, Sakurako began walking in the place despite the surroundings' unbalanced surface. The other line still hasn't answered yet, so she grows irritated and wants to end the call already. I will cut the call. Hearing the warning, the other side was forced to answer her. Nice try. Huh? The voice of the caller was familiar to her and was also surprised by the other side's response. Nice try. Oh, by the way, be careful of your step. Sakurako has already been accustomed to the place where she lowered her guard, thinking that she already memorized every surface there is. But too late to realize that someone has changed the area's structure, switching the position of some specific rocks which cause her to lose balance by stepping in the wrong one. Her body was slowly pulled by the gravity, and all she could do was go with the flow, then her head came crashing on the surface of a slant solid rock, causing Sakurako to retire due to an injury. Day 14. I-2. At last, the final day of the special exam has arrived. It was also the promised date where I will meet with acting director Tsukahiro and Shiba-sensei to settle our score. There's also the small chance that the hidden white rumor might show up there. I had a vague idea on who it is, but I believe that I'm still lacking some crucial information for a well-grounded claim. Well, there's no harm in being overly cautious in the first years that are after me, placing them all in the gray area is the best decision, albeit the differences on each of the red flags that I noticed since the start. Furthermore, the location of some important figures in the first year, especially those Yugami has mentioned that was part of the students that were called for the hidden special exam, couldn't be tracked in the map the time I used the GPS search yesterday afternoon, until now. The sudden retreat of the first year's pursuers tells me that something might have happened behind the scenes. Only the names of Amasawa Ichika and Riku Utamiya were seen on the screen, moving around endlessly from spot to spot. Speaking of moving, I went through a long distance of traveling yesterday, together with a group of third years led by Nagumo. That mentioned event has its own pros and cons to us both. The pros on me is that I got away from the first year with the help of them, but the cons is it makes Nagumo more interested in me, a bit similar to the case of Housen, the quote which is winning the battle, but losing the war, undoubtedly defines the outcome of our battle. From Nagumo's perspective, he might have received one of the worst humiliations in his entire high school life, but it also resulted in him finding a rival which is much more capable than the former president, Horikita Manabu. For him, it's worth a risk for a last dance before the time he leaves the school for good. Well, he can't immediately launch his attack that fast, he first needs to take care of the whole third year's internal affairs in explaining his humiliating loss against me, or else his followers will rebel against him. Moreover, it's likely that the talk of his defeat has already reached the ears of others, and I'm confident to say that it's the most hot topic right now. Cutting off his influence and authority, putting Horikita to the student council in order to serve and protect the former president's school ideology before Nagumo will change the school's structure entirely, acquiring the likes of Ichinose, which has the higher odds of becoming the future student council president for now, on my side to take Horikita's role in case she won't succeed, and then revealing myself to him that I'm way more capable than he thought I am. If I will thread all the pieces all together, it seems that I'd been following Manabu's final advice unconsciously. Becoming someone, huh? I wonder if all that I've been doing right now can be considered as leaving a legacy to the others with my name carved on their hearts. I sighed. What a troublesome senpai I had. After putting away my things inside the bag, I then prepare myself for the present war I'm heading to and put in the back of my mind the future one. Ought to do the things in the present first before thinking of the future. With that, I then headed to the planned place where Tsukahiro and Shiba-sensei were waiting for my arrival. Let's do this. The sound of the wave crashing to the sandy shore brings a jarring noise in the surroundings. Are you ready, Tsukashiro-san? Shiba pulled his arm using the other upwards. There's no need to ask such a thing, Shiba-kun. Tsukahiro shows a warm smile, but it didn't reach his eyes. Shiba then decided to stop the conversation and focus on warming up his body to prepare for the upcoming clash. He clearly knows the capabilities of the White Rumors, no matter whether it's the failures, those who somehow manage to survive the harsh curriculum or the likes of Ayanokouji and some successful but lower class students. Their fighting skills are second to none if compared to those ordinary people. Not to mention that the one they're facing right now is the facility's masterpiece Ayanokouji Kiyotaka. The instructors in the White Room might also receive some hardcore trainings and strict regiments to intimidate the children or control the situation in case someone decided to create a scene, but the current case is different than that. Kids that are trained at such a pretty young age have a different development to their body when compared to those adults that just started working out. They might have the upper hand for outnumbering Ayanokouji, but they're aware that one wrong move can change the tide quickly, so they must release each attack with speed and precision without underestimating their opponent. What's the current movement, Shiba-kun? He then pulled out his tablet and used the GPS search. The two of them are currently on the way here. Good. Tsukahiro nodded. Among the two people Shiba mentioned, Ayanokouji is one of them and the identity of the other one is still unknown. It can be said that that person might be the other White Rumor. Using the authority as the current school's acting director, Tsukashiro has a huge influence in the present island exam. He designed that Ayanokouji will cross E2 on the final day, while ensuring that no other students will be near enough to witness the meeting. The random designated area will be the main key so that no one will notice his strange movement. But since Ichinose already spoiled their plan and Ayanokouji already negotiated to meet there, the two of them patiently waited, without having in mind that he wouldn't fulfill his part, confident that there would be no other interruption from a third party. That kid is still drunk on the fact that he's the sole survivor of the demonic generation, having the full confidence that he can handle us both that easily. Tsukashiro opened his eyes that are now somewhat dead and deep. But that gives us the advantage, because those that think that they've already won are the easiest to deceive. Tsukashiro is positive that Ayanokouji underestimates them, thinking that a one or two person being put against him wouldn't change anything and will ensure his victory, only to realize that he's not the only one who received similar physical training for body enhancement. giving Shiba and Tsukahiro the task and kicking Ayanokouji out of the school, even using brute force, was planned thoroughly by their head professor and founder, Ayanokouji's father. He knows his masterpiece abilities so well that even a squad of half-baked individuals won't stand a chance against him, which drives him to the conclusion to go to them. Plus the addition of the other white rumor to increase the probability of succeeding in the plan. He should be here by now. Both then lock their gaze on the man-made path in the forest to the shore. Passing the dense sea of bushes, I then arrive on a man-made road towards the place I'm heading to. This should lead the way. Following the path straight without any interruption nor stopping on my track, I can confidently say that I'm already close to the destined spot. Both of them should be already there. Just when I heard the rough sound of the waves coming from the ocean. I then suddenly crossed paths with someone at a strange time. She shouldn't be here. She's still wearing the school's tracksuit neatly, but she no longer carries her large and heavy backpack. Morning, Ayanokouji senpai. I only nodded to Nanas's greetings and walked past her. Can I join you? She asked me formally. Suit yourself. But that the two of us headed together to where Tsukashiro and Shiba-sensei were, without speaking any more words aside from earlier. The sound of the sea became louder than before, and then we finally stepped foot on the sandy beach and found two figures present in the place. Welcome, Ayanokouji-kun. Tsukashiro opened his arms widely with Shiba-sensei on his side. I also noticed the sudden change of their expression the moment they noticed the presence of Nanas entering the place. I thought that you would comply with your part of the deal, Ayanokouji-kun. Tsukashiro asked me using a serious tone. But it didn't intimidate me even by a bit, and then I returned with a deep as well as sharp piercing stare. I did. Dropping off my bag to the sandy beach, I started walking towards them to close our distance. Then why is she here? He shot me an intense glare while pointing at Nanas. Why did you ask? I replied nonchalantly, not wanting to waste any more time on unnecessary chatter. I'm asking you one time, Ayanokouji-kun. Why is Nana-san here? This time his voice becomes heavy and cold so that even by a distance those that hear it will know that Tsukashiro is dead serious and wants the correct answer. I sighed. Stop playing games, Tsukashiro. It's futile. I adjust my tone, adding weight to my statement. The expression of someone who's dead serious earlier drastically changes into a person that forces himself to not burst into laughter. Ha 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 ha. As expected of the masterpiece, you can see through the lies of others, even by those that already wears it. After that, Tsukashiro then returned to his white room instructor mode, showing me his intimidating aura and a more serious gaze. Together with Shiba-sensei, they also walked towards me, including Nanas who was behind me. Fuse Ayanokouji-kun, will you follow us peacefully or do you want the other way around? My lips upturned a bit. A14.1. The true white rumor. Damn. I was forced to lift my head due to the impact of being hit by Tsukahiro's fist just now. TCH. He grinned widely after seeing the successful throw. No matter how good my reflexes are, it's inevitable that I will receive a hit or two. After all, my opponents right now are not your typical delinquents that roam around the street, beating random kids. 3 of them are well-trained individuals that are not only taught various martial arts skills, but also know how to locate a person's weak spot. They continued their rapid attack on me, switching from left to right, legs then arms and the combination of grips and knees, not giving me even a second to counter, and absolutely not letting me breathe. Just after I bent my knees to avoid Shiba-sensei's powerful leg, Nana swiftly followed a straight kick and then another swift kick, aiming on my trunk, in which I crossed both of my arms covering it. Bang. I also leaped backwards to lessen the damage of her continued attacks. As expected, it hurts. If I was not cornered on all sides at the start of the fight, I'm confident that I should already have taken down Nanas, since she's the weakest among the 3. Moreover, I thought that my first meeting with Tsukahiro, where he grabbed me by the neck, he already used almost all of his overall strength. I didn't expect him to be holding back too much, which gave me a hard time today. There is also Shiba-sensei that I can't completely make a concrete analysis of his power. On the scale of 10, 10 being the strongest and 1 is the lowest. I can say that the strength Tsukahiro showed right now is between the range of 7 and 8. If compared to Shiba-sensei that changes from 9 then 8 then go lower. His attack precision sometimes becomes sharp or dulled, but it synchronizes well to the others for the purpose of creating some blind spot. Nanas had the white room's training, but despite all of that effort and hard work, the difference of body growth between male and females hinder her in catching to my level, who also receives the same level of training. She belongs either in the number 6 or 7. Well, about me, of course I'm in the number 10 of the chart. The 3 of them are definitely aware of such a fact, that's why they fought me together, not one-on-one. I need to separate the 3 of them even by a few distances so that I can counter without the risk of being caught, that will result in my loss. Leaping quickly towards Nanis, I delayed my right arm, cutting through the wind to exert additional force, planning to knock her out in one blow. But I was forced to stop as Tsukahiro releases an axe kick, preventing me from going further, or else I've already received such a powerful attack. I was gonna leap again to create a safe distance, but too late, as Shiba-sensei is already right in front of me. I quickly shield my face using both of my arms, stopping his fist from hitting my face, only to receive a blow in the gut using his other arm. That was a solid hit and the pain quickly runs throughout my body. Still feeling the agony from the attack, I leap backwards twice in order to prevent myself from receiving another damage. I then clench the area where I'm hit while breathing heavily. "Is that all you got, Ayanokouji-senpai?" Nanis shouted at me. Her split personality, the masculine one to be precise, has been more exposed in the open today than our first encounter. This has caused the increase of Nanis's movements from agility, strength and speed. But she's unlucky because it's still not enough. How ironic coming from a person who can't even touch a single thread of my hair in the previous days. The three of them had stopped attacking for now and we then engaged in a fruitful conversation. "I just try to measure your fighting capabilities at that time, senpai. Besides, you're also doing the same thing, yes?" Nanis loudly uses the Boku term to portray that it's not the same Nanis that I'm having a conversation with right now. "Then you come to the conclusion that you can't defeat me using your own strength, isn't it? There's really no use asking about this sort of stuff since I'd already know her answer. Correct? It may hurt my pride as one of the successful subjects in my generation and is capable of defeating then replacing the so-called magnum opus, but for the purpose of increasing the chances of the original plan to succeed, I cooperated with Tsukahiro and Shiba-sensei. Because I absolutely believe that for us to know who's above and below the other, the match should happen inside the White Room. As one, huh? Well, I agree in the least that the current environment does not fit for the geniuses in that place to clash and then call themselves the winner. There's a lot of factors to use that will create advantages, making the competition between us not a fair play. For us to determine who is truly the best test subject in the entire generation of the White Room. The most suitable place for the test to happen should be in the facility with the scientists as the judges and the witnesses for the making of the history. She already has the disadvantages when it comes to physical ability, so this means that she's confident in her academics. But I'm not in the least interested in going back to that place for the time being. I agree, but… I paused. But… Nanis doesn't sound a bit confused since she already has an idea of what I'm thinking. You'll have to wait for another year for it to happen. The three of them showed more fierce looks and slowly closed the distance. I guess we'll have to force you, senpai. Isn't that what you guys are doing a while back? I responded sarcastically. I thought that they would begin their combination attack on me again, but unexpectedly they stopped. Before that, aren't you curious about what happened to Sakayanagi-senpai's group? Sakayanagi? Wait, isn't Ichinose a part of that group? Aside from the various first years that were suddenly gone in the map yesterday, Sakayanagi's previous large group couldn't be tracked. What do you mean? Nanis's lips upturned hearing my worried question. Well, I just simply used Yugami-kun's kindness to spark the fire of the inferiority complex of Kishida-senpai into attacking mainly Ichinose-senpai. She responded vaguely. She didn't disclose all the details of her plan. I then made my own assumptions that the story of Yugami and Kishida both attending the same school in the past is legit and something may happen further. She mentioned use, kindness and inferiority complex, which can mean that Nanis gives Yugami tips either direct or indirect approach, then uses it towards Kishida to envy Ichinose for being accepted despite having a history for shoplifting in comparison to her side that didn't go well. The real question is what will they gain from it? But it seems that everything is moving according to plan. I then moved my gaze to Tsukahiro in which he reacted quickly. Boy, don't give me that look, Ayanokouji-kun. Our negotiation only includes me and Shiba-sensei, but Nanis is not part of it, no. I just give a simple nod. But there's no need to worry, right, Ayanokouji-kun? Tsukahiro shows a weird smile, meaning he's aware of the things that I do behind the scenes. Well, it's not that surprising that he heard about it, considering that he holds the highest position in the school system. What do you mean, Tsukahiro? It seems that Nanis doesn't know about it. It's not that important, Nanis-san. Since Ayanokouji-kun still fulfilled his part. The three of them then do a fighting stance, ready to start the brawl again any second from now. But I still had some questions to ask. Is the number of retired first years figureheads also part of your doing? Nanis tilted her head, denying it. Not all of it, senpai. I see. Then can you state the names of your victims? She then placed her finger into her lips, thinking. No, but we can give you a vague hint on the identity. She paused. We? Does it mean that both of her personalities are talking to each other, then come to an agreement? What a weird woman. But a hard-to-deal opponent that is. One is an annoying bitch who thinks that she can take us down that easily, and the other one is your acquaintance. I see. So the other students from class 1 are not doing her, huh? Anyway, Ayanokoji-senpai, I imagine that you might be a little bit surprised upon knowing that I'm a white rimmer. The fight then started, each of them released rows in short intervals, and I did my best in dodging all of it. Why would I be surprised? Tsukishiro gave me a right hook, in which I lowered my head. Since you're the most suspicious of them all. I twist my body to the left, avoiding Shiba-sensei's swift attack. Any proof, senpai? Nanis then forward her arms, opening her palm, attempting to grab me. But I just slapped it at precise timing. The story about you being a friend of Matsu's only son is quite an interesting idea, but acting like him as the last resort in our first encounter just shows your desperation and willing to defeat me. I then raised my leg, avoiding the swift sweep kick. But you then subdue me after that, doing a self-reflection to get closer to me and accepting my deal and working together. I strike using my raised leg, hitting Tsukihiro's calf, making him almost lose his balance. Ah. Then what about it? Shiba-sensei quickly shields him, catching my punch before it will land on the ladder. It was supposed to be a critical hit if it's successful, but even though it was blocked, I'm confident that Shiba-sensei felt half the power of the punch. I'm not done explaining, Nanis. The time Tsukishiro gained his footing back, he pushed Shiba-sensei towards me, in which I spun to avoid him. You then revealed to me the first year's plan by drawing a circle in the tablet screen, but the real plan is to make one group delayed their movement from the entire circle, so that it will lead me to the assumption that it's a flaw of their plan, but the truth is the mentioned opening is where the real trap is. That's where Housen is. Moreover, the fact that the delayed group is from her class can drive me to another conclusion that she ordered that certain group to give me a chance in escaping. She's definitely good. Shiba-sensei, who's behind me, quickly turned around and jumped over me, spreading his arms wide open. But I saw through it, that's why by the time that I spun. I took advantage of the momentum and raised my leg, then released a solid kick, hitting Shiba-sensei's neck before he caught me. I think I heard a sound of a bone breaking. If it is indeed the case, then it's not my problem. The figure of Shiba-sensei then falls into the sandy beach. One out. Even though one of their companions was taken out, Tsukihiro didn't stop or appeared shocked, instead he continued attacking me. Left arm, slapped, right leg, dodge, right knee, blocked. When I was about to strike, a dust of sand then flew towards me, blocking my vision and then receiving a solid hit in my side. Arg. A strong left hook then landed on my chin, making me fly in a small distance, almost reaping out my consciousness. The taste of iron was then present inside my mouth. It can only mean one thing, there's a cut in my gum. I looked at where the dust of sand originates and found the figure of Nanis, staring at me violently. The miscommunication of you and the rest of the first-year leader can mean that after you spend the days with me, they no longer trust you. But on the other side of the coin, you take advantage of it to further decrease my suspicions on you and make me battle Housen, despite knowing that he doesn't stand a chance, only in order to damage me for this day. There's no way that I won't leave a scratch after fighting with that guy. She utilizes every option that is available in her surroundings just to increase the chances of me going back to that place. I owned Nagumo that one time. That's why I showed him a match that he hadn't experienced before. But despite knowing all of those flags, Ayanokoji-senpai, you still took your chance in going here. Shiba-sensei then gained his consciousness back and rose back into his feet, ready to fight me again. Because I'm confident that I'll surely win. I showed them my cold and deep eyes, in other words my true eyes. The three of them swiftly closed the distance, leaping towards me in a quick motion. I also jumped towards them, wanting to end this fight right now. The closest person to me is Tsukishiro, who's aiming for my face, sadly mine got ahead of his first. Blue. The next one is Shiba-sensei, who hasn't thought of what attack he'll make yet, then crashes into the sandy beach again, due to my left knee piercing through his muscular body. Nana stopped moving as I'm now already facing her so close that I can feel her hard breathing. In short, Nanis, your split personality gives off your camouflage as an ordinary student. I whispered to her. Your personality disorder was developed in order to cope up with the White Room's intense training. To put it simply, for your survival. I noticed that Nanis is now shaking her legs. My voice right now is not the same stoic voice that I usually use in my everyday life, instead it carries heavy pressure as well as freezing coldness. Now, Nanis. Aren't you curious about the type of psychological disorder of mine? This time I then showed my other, not to be precise, my true self to her. Ryuan, Housen and Nagumo didn't even see a glimpse of this, only on Nanis as a special case. Somehow I missed this type of feeling. Nanis, are you ready? Two unconscious bodies are lying in the sandy hot beach ground. Another additional one will soon be added after I will finish tormenting her whole body and soul. Another victim of my madness. Farewell Tsubasa Nanis. A14. The curtain falls. Afternoon came, by only a single notification in each of their tablets, every student from first year to third year that was scattered throughout the island then made their way to one particular spot, the pier. The 2-long-week uninhabited island exam will finally reach its conclusion, and the final rankings will be announced, which means the revelation of the top 3 groups, together with the lowest 5 groups that will be subjected to expulsion, in case they fail to pay a worth of 6 million private points. I also made my way to the mentioned spot while reminiscing about the fight earlier. After I released my compressed emotions to the quivering Nanis, she also quickly suffered the same fate as acting director Tsukishiro and Shiba-sensei. The 3 of them then unconsciously lay on the sandy beach, basking in the scorching heat coming from the morning sun. I can really leave them here and swiftly head to the task site, since I had already reached the first designated area, this place to be exact, or just after the second upcoming designated area, because the current time is 8:48 in the morning. But not due to sentiment but more on logical reasoning, I pulled each one of them out of the sandy beach, then placed them to the nearest shade that would at least block the heat directly to them. This should at least avoid them the risk of suffering from dehydration due to being basked from direct sunlight. Then I made my way to the nearest task site that I found on the tablet, since chasing after the early bird points won't give me that many points, even if I'm the first one to arrive there. After that, I participated task by task, not wasting any seconds there, making sure that I would gain enough points for all the trouble she had done for me. I then snapped back in reality after setting foot at the designated location where the closing of the special exam will be held. As usual, I carefully scanned the surroundings, looking for people that I am familiar with in this diverse crowd. I noticed that almost everyone present for the time being are definitely exhausted after living in hell for 2 weeks straight. In the left corner of my eyes, I saw a group of third years looking at me with curiosity while having some constant whisper on each other. I then glanced towards my left, where a group of first-year students glared at me, containing burning hostility, albeit not having the interest of the reason why. They must have not gotten over the planned ambush yet, which only led to an utter failure because of the intervention from Nagumo. While still on the expedition of searching for familiar faces, I didn't notice a certain someone behind me that suddenly slapped my back out of the blue. I nonchalantly glance at my side, only to find a glaring Horikita with her arms crossed. What's her problem? What's up? I just simply ignore the violence she did to me and greets her. So what was that for? She sternly asked. Ah. Horikita must be talking about the message that I told Sakayanagi to send to her. The message is that when anyone asks her a question, particularly if she and Ichinose did spend the night together, just answer yes. I did expect her to trace it back to me, but it should be after the rankings are announced. I guess I underestimated her too much. You will find out soon. I moved my gaze from her, then observed the crowd again with bored looks. She sighed heavily. As usual, you never change, Ayanokoji-kun. Then shakes her head. There is no need for me to change. I took off my bag, then grabbed a clean mineral bottle and tossed it to Horikita. Here. Upon seeing a bottle of water, Horikita gratefully received it. You have my gratitude. She wipes the bottle first before opening it. No probs. You didn't put anything weird inside of it, no? Horikita cast a sidelong doubtful gaze at me. I sighed and responded. Do you really see me that low? Even if I don't want to admit it, I've been together with Horikita longer than my small group, so she should have a decent understanding that I am not the type of person that she has in mind right now. Of course, not. She then gulped the water, relinquished the thirst after the long day of the exam. What's with the pause? After a short silence, mostly because of Horikita drinking the water with satisfaction, the conversation then started again. So I heard that you single-handedly demolished the president. I saw her lips upturn a bit. She's thinking about the points, no doubt. Absolutely. I only responded nonchalantly, recalling how I am completely disappointed about the final match. Then are you confident that you acquire enough points to prevent Konji from taking the first spot? Yeah, as expected. This is her main purpose for approaching me. Who knows? My nonchalant response earned me a swift chop to my side from Horikita, but I immediately grabbed her wrist before it hit me. Since I was supposed to be stopping Konji, not Nagumo. What I did was the complete opposite. Much worse is that both of their points were close to each other, but because of my unexpected intervention, it is safe to say that Konji has taken a huge lead by my indirect help. She should also be aware that it was inevitable for me to be included in the battle of the two, since it was Nagumo himself who invited me to join the fray. Of course I also benefit from it, but I am not sure if the person beside me will understand. DCH. Whatever. She then pulled her arm back, in which I immediately let go. What about you, Horikita? This time it's my turn to ask her. Well, I can say that my performance is not that much productive when compared to yours, but I'm still confident to say that I at least gained a decent amount of points for a solo group. She spoke in a matter-of-fact tone. I expected this kind of answer coming from her in the first place. It was true that not once did I see Horikita's name in the red line, nor close to the bottom 10. Despite moving solo, Horikita maintained a spot into the top 50 groups, but not close enough to snatch an opening for the top 20. But I'm not after that subject, I'm talking about the challenge coming from her rival in the other class, Ibuki. What I mean to ask is, did you win from your competition against your rival? Well, she asked me first about the subject, and I'm also quite curious about how it went. Ibuki was filled with enthusiasm during the first day when she challenged Horikita, so I wonder if her gas quickly ran out or she managed to survive at the end of the day. This special exam is not all about blindly gaining points, we also need to put in mind in conserving enough energy to avoid retiring due to the overfatigue. We haven't crossed paths with Ibuki since day 1, but you will find out soon enough. I guess she ran out of gas. Not that it matters anyway. We then continue asking back and forth, conversing different kinds of topics whether it's casual or serious. Our classmates that saw the two of us standing there then approached us and joined the conversation. The first group was Imsuk, then came afterwards Mai-chan, the next was Sudu, the 4 members of Ayanokoji group, and so on and so forth. Hei also arrived together with Matsushita and Satu. She seemed to be quite exhausted from the exam, since her usual headstrong personality is nowhere in her expression. Kei has a meek presence right now and avoids making eye contact with me. When the opportunity came that her friends were busy talking with the others, she stealthily walked beside me and spoke with just enough volume for us to hear. I'm glad you're fine, Kiyotaka. She also tugged at the bottom of my shirt. Me as well, Kei. I give her a genuine response even though my tone is basically flat. We continue being in comfortable silence for a while, not until a certain someone unexpectedly causes a commotion that earns both of our attention. Does anyone see Kikyo-chan? I ask each of our classmates whether any of us saw the mentioned person. Knowing that none of the students that was asked saw her, Ike grows anxious as well as the people that finally notice that she's missing. Do you know anything about it, Ayanokoji-kun? Horikita then immediately approached me, not minding the presence of Kei beside me. Hei was also curious about the subject, so she turned her gaze to me. However, I am not directly involved in the business regarding Kishida. No. I nonchalantly responded. Horikita gives me doubtful looks, but there is no way she will see through me. Okay. Anyway, putting aside the case of Kishida-san, some groups in our year haven't arrived yet. Now that Horikita mentioned it, it is true that Ryuin's small group, the other members of Sakayanagi's large group as well as some few others are nowhere in the crowd. A moment later, 2 groups of students, 2 first-year students and 3 third-year students approached our group. The former who hurriedly went towards me with a hostile gaze got ahead of the latter, then intensely confronted me. What did you do to Tsubaki-san, Ayanokoji? Utamiya yelled at me while swiftly grabbing my collar. Utamiya usually has a calm demeanor and addresses me with honorifics every time we meet, but this time, he is filled with rage and hostility. Just so you know, it was not me who attacked your leader, but the person that your leader is targeting, Nanis. Nanis is just 2 steps ahead of her, that's why instead of her being hunted, what happened was the other way around. However, there is no way that I will reveal it to him and to the others because another question will instantly be inquired on how I know such a thing. I didn't do any resistance and just simply stared at him with my usual apathetic expression. Knowing that I directly ignored him, Utamiya tightened his grip and was about to say something when the other group interrupted him. You're in my way, kid. Nagumo warned him using his authority. The vice president of the student council Kiriyama and Asahina senpai also followed Nagumo behind. The only girl of the group cast me a slight smile when we made eye contact, then immediately returned to her laid black expression. Seeing them up close, I noticed some light bruises on the 2 boys' faces, meaning something might have happened earlier that I didn't know. Having been interrupted by a third party, Utamiya turned his head over his shoulder, glaring at the uninvited guests. Huh? The 2 of them then intensely glared at each other, not thinking of backing down any moment by now. For Utamiya to be acting hostile even to the presence of the president, it just tells me that his relationship with Sakurako is not hereby shallow, not limited to being a right-hand man and to its leader. Having noticed the strange combination gathering in our spot, it is inevitable that we will attract numerous attention whether we intentionally do it or not. Curious gazes and constant whispering of the crowd immediately follows, and the 2 people who are besides me were also included. The arm that is currently grabbing my collar somehow makes me feel uncomfortable, so I grabbed it and applied a bit of strength to earn Utamiya's attention. Let go. I ordered. He then shifted his gaze back to me and responded, definitely not listening to my request. Answer my question. Boy, out of all the things that I hate the most is when I'm being left out. Nagumo joined the heated conversation, adding fuel to the fire. I shifted my gaze to Nagumo, he turned his towards Utamiya, then Utamiya to mine, and we checked the other one and so on and so on. The crowd immediately knows that a fight is brewing in our group and one single move might start it, exchanging blows out in the open. While the three of us are having a staring contest with each other, a girl with twin pigtails and scarlet hair suddenly goes through the middle, interrupting us. Ara this is a no-no senpai's Amasawa nonchalantly goes between me and Utamiya, causing him to let go of me, forcefully separating the both of us. I'm willing to give each one of you a chance, you know. So please don't fight over me. Keishi first glanced at me and gave me a wink while showing that mischievous smile of hers, then turned to the other two. This kid. Me and Utamiya sighed at the same time, while Nagumo was a confused expression all over his face. He should at least heard of Amasawa's shenanigans considering how wide his social network is, or he just let his guard down to the first year, putting all of his surveillance in our year. By forcing a new but completely different topic in the heated atmosphere, the storm that was about to landfall then slowly dispersed and some of the crowd lost interest, getting baited thinking that it was only about a girl. This is nonsense. Utamiya glared at me then turned around and purposely bumped on Nagumo's shoulder, leaving the two of us behind. Lad, you know, Amasawa responded to him but was completely ignored, yet she didn't even mind it. Turning her gaze towards me once again, Amasawa unexpectedly went closer to me. She placed both arms against my chest and raised her heels, then went towards my ears, softly whispering 3 words. "Good job, senpai." While I was wondering what she meant about that, I lowered my guard down that I didn't notice her lips touching my right cheek, stealing a kiss in front of everyone. Hey. The first one to react was Kei, whose face was completely flushed. Horikita was also shocked that it seemed like her soul left her body. Completely ignoring Kei's hounding to her, Amasawa left us with a triumphant smile across her lips and constantly humming. Another woman, huh? Somehow Nagumo grumbles about the scene, but it is enough for the others to hear. Don't make it sound like I'm kind of a womanizer. Sound of a megaphone. Another unexpected interruption then occurs, but this time it is enough to force Nagumo to back down for the time being. Since the final rankings will be announced soon, Nagumo turned his back on us, but left a few words mostly for me, before returning to his third-year group. "I will deal with you later, Ayanokouji. And your class wonderboy is good, too bad he was up against me," he added. I don't give a shred of empathy about the first sentence, but the second got my attention a bit. That must explain the reason why he and Kiriyama got some light bruises on their faces. I cast a sidelong glance at Horikita and unexpectedly she seemed shocked upon hearing it. "Sorry for the wait everyone, something just happened, but the faculty has already finished dealing with it, so now we will reveal all the final rankings of the special exam." Silence quickly filled the air. Everyone holds their breath, anticipating for the final rankings to be announced to know whether all of their hard work bears fruit or ends up in another failure. The teacher standing in the middle of the place then taps the screen on her tablet and each tablet of the students present or already in the ship rings, receiving a message from the school. I nonchalantly opened mine while the others closed their eyes before reading it. It contains the overall rankings. First place. Sakayanagi's large group 401 points. Members. Sakayanagi Arisu Class 2A. Ichinose Honami Class 2B. Shibata Class 2B. Hashimoto Class 2A. Famuro Masumi Class 2A. Nishikita Class 2A. Ayanokouji Kiyotaka Class 2D. Second place. Nagumo's large group 392 points. Members. Miyabi Nagumo Class 3A. Asahina Nazuna Class 3A. Third place Kmenji Solo group 390 points. Members. Menji Rakusu Class 2D. And so on and so forth. Seeing my name being part of the first place also joining the other class's large group without informing her about my plan. Horikita gave me a quizzical look, extremely baffled about the correct reaction to make. Well, I did gain additional class points for the class, even though it is least when compared to the other classes that were part of our large group, but the bonus part is stopping Konji from getting the first spot, earning his cooperation for the future special exam, if he will take his part of the deal, in which I have my doubt. But the other consequences of my action in joining a large group from the other classes is that I help them in gaining a large sum of class points, widening the gap between each class. I may have a lot of explaining to do to Horikita and to the few others that will ask, however I cannot reveal everything, only a bit of information, but will be enough to answer their questions. Not to mention that this change of plan happened because of Ichinose being involved in my past. The White Room institution cannot be leaked to the public, no matter what the case will be. But why did you join a large group without informing me, Ayanokouji-kun? Horikita asked. Her usual stern tone was changed into a curious one, begging me to answer her question truthfully. The 20 million bounty might have crossed Horikita's mind for her to question me calmly without complaining first then choosing violence after. I guess I needed to open up a bit to her. I will fill you up on the cruise ship. I responded without looking at her. Thanks. She bent her head, doing a slight bow. The second-year students, mostly our classmates that saw me, then made their way towards the two of us. They congratulated me for joining the main large group of our year without anyone expecting it in the first place and gaining the first spot. When our group finally arrived at the large cruise ship, I quickly lined up to pick up my phone that was collected by the teacher before we disembarked to the island. After opening it, I saw countless messages popping up on the screen. Some were unidentified while there are a few that I am quite familiar with. I first opened the message from the leader of Class 2A, who played an important role in the success of the plan, Sakayanagi. It was a pleasure to work with you, Ayanokoji-kun. The pleasure is also mine, Sakayanagi. I replied with the same statement in my head while leisurely heading towards my room. The next message was from Ichinose. The message contains. Can we meet up, Ayanokoji-kun? Unlike Sakayanagi, I needed to think thoroughly about how to respond. I'm not sure if my meeting with Horikita today will be finished short or not, but I will only need to entertain a few of her questions, so it might be done faster than I expect. Well, the thing is, I seriously needed a long break after all the events I'd been through, particularly the 3-against-1 fight on the beach. Then I came to the conclusion that I will message her the time and location later. I then closed the screen, ignoring the other unread messages because the sender is highly Nagumo or Tsukashiro or both of them. When I was about to put it inside my pocket, it suddenly vibrated, informing me a new message had been received. I sighed, then glanced at the screen and read the message. It was from Ichinose. It says. Sure. I'll be looking forward to it. Putting my phone inside for good. I then hurriedly went towards my room and quickly took a shower. Arriving in the mentioned spot, I scanned the place looking for the figure of the person that I am meeting with, Horikita. Moving my gaze from left to right, I noticed a hand waving at me, calling for my attention. There I found the lone Horikita sitting on a table for two. I raised my hand to her, telling her that I will be heading there now. Even though there were quite a few familiar faces in the place, I completely ignored them and went straight to Horikita. Pulling the chair across her, I then took my seat, facing Horikita, who was having her snack. I found a pair of sandwiches on her plate together with strawberry juice as her drink. Somehow I unconsciously maintained my gaze there, which quickly earned a complaint from Horikita. Don't give me that look, Ayanokoji-kun. It's been 2 weeks since I had a decent snack. Now that she had mentioned it, it was truly the case. Since we need to save our food wisely, we don't have the luxury of having some snacks if we can have it for dinner instead. I then averted my gaze and took the menu on the table, reading the variety of foods, dessert, juice, etc. When I'm already done choosing my order, I called the waiter, in which he swiftly approached me. 1 slice of dark chocolate cake and an orange juice. I then showed my student ID card, in which the waiter scanned, and the process was quickly completed. I honestly thought that you're not a fan of sweet, Ayanokoji-kun. I think you already asked the same question during our first year. Well, after being on that island for too long, isn't it natural that one would like to eat something sweet? I give Horikita a nonchalant response while idling at my phone, checking the time. I think it just depends on one's preference. She crossed her arms, but not because she's mad at me or some sort. Maybe. My order then arrived and the waiter placed it on the table in a professional manner. Enjoy your snack. Thanks. I did akimasu. When we're finally alone with each other, Horikita then took the initiative in opening about the earlier subject. So back to the subject, Ayanokoji-kun. Why did you join Sakayanagi-san's large group? I first put down the fork and table knife before answering. I don't know if you're aware of this or not, but I received an intel that a number of first-year students led by Sakurako are planning to ambush me in the forest, forcing my retirement since I have quite an amount of bounty on my head. She nodded in agreement for the last part, then waited for me to proceed. Then I struck a deal with Sakayanagi to block those first-year groups, using her own class, however, in exchange for her cooperation. She wants me to join her large group during the 13th day of the special exam so that the other groups won't notice the changes. It was mentioned in the rules of the special exam that the last 2 days before the curtain falls, anyone cannot access the rankings chart and check the other group's members as well. This was also the reason why I purposely missed my 4th designated area, for the sole reason that a member of Sakayanagi's group won't travel that much distance, considering that our group doesn't share the same table. I think I got the gist of it. But why would Sakayanagi-san want you to be a part of her group? Does she know that you're aiming for the first spot? No. Does she know your true ability? Horikita had her eyes wide open, shocked after reaching her own conclusion. My encounter with Sakayanagi in public is hereby low to none. I can even confidently say that aside from last year's end-of-the-year special exam in which both of us are the leaders from our class, no students had seen the both of us having any form of conversation with each other. The girl in her class, Kamuro, is the only one who is aware of our relationship. So Horikita was thinking that it is strange for her to ask for my cooperation, since I will only remain a baggage to the group considering most of their members are a powerhouse. But if she is aware of my true ability, then there is nothing more to ask than having me join the party. There are some stones that are better left upturned, Horikita. Also I was amassing points at a quick pace that time, so that must be the reason she thought that by joining forces we can reach the top. I then finished eating the cake and grabbed the juice, taking a sip by the straw. I see then why are you the only one that remains in your large group? I think that this must be the main subject that Horikita wanted to answer. The reason why all of the large group members including Sakayanagi, with the exception of me, had retired from the exam. Because the first year attacked them. That's all for today, Horikita. I then put the empty glass at the table, then stood up from the chair. What I told Horikita is half lies and half truths. Horikita reached out her arm, telling me to not leave yet, however I have another meeting to attend to, that's why I turned my back on her, then started walking. She had her arms hanging in the air as her gaze follows my back until I'm no longer seen in the surroundings. Time surely flies fast, it is already 8:30 in the evening. After messaging Ichinose the location of our meetup, I then rested my back against the deck's railings, comfortably feeling the chilly summer wind. Not to mention that there is no other presence currently around the place, so I can enjoy the time being completely alone while waiting for her arrival. On the contrary, there is no need for us to meet in secret in the first place. Everyone knows that Ichinose and I belong to the same group in the special exam, so it is not that strange for us to meet once out in the open, like in the restaurant or somewhere else. But I'm still uncertain that nothing out of the ordinary will happen. My phone that I was holding then suddenly buzzed, which I lowered my gaze checking the content of the message. I'd arrive, Ayanokouji-kun. I cast a sidelong glance at the entrance of the place, then found the figure of Ichinose. After making sure that it was only me and no other students that are currently present around the place. Ichinose hurriedly went towards me. Since the person that I am waiting for has finally shown up, I removed my back from the railings then turned around, facing Ichinose. When she's only a few steps away from me, Ichinose suddenly leaps towards me, forcing me to catch her before she will fall face first on the floor. Grabbing her shoulders tightly with both hands, I successfully secured her safety, but something surprising but expected happened afterwards. Ichinose tightly embraced me with both arms crossing my back and her beautiful face was digging against my chest. Sob. Sob. I had also heard a low sobbing sound coming from her. I gently stroked her strawberry blonde hair while not speaking any words of comfort. We remained in silence for a few minutes until she finally managed to calm down. Ichinose then lifted her head, staring at me and said, I am truly glad that you're safe, Ayanokouji-kun. Her voice was filled with relievedness. Having overheard about Tsukashiro's plan accidentally, it is inevitable that Ichinose will be totally anxious about how it went since I told her that I will handle it by myself alone. And when she saw me tonight, still being the same as usual and not having any kind of injury or worse getting expelled. Ichinose couldn't control herself but was very grateful. I then removed my hand that was stroking her hair, then place it below her face, touching her chin. I also feel the same way, Ichinose. Her lips then upturned, showing me her brightest smile that I had never seen before. I thought that her business with me is already over, but I guess that Ichinose still has some topics that need to be discussed. After giving such a warm smile, Ichinose averted her gaze, fidgeting, and then proceeded to ask a different topic. Ayanokouji-kun, I asked Sakayanagi-san about the reason why the original plan that our classes agreed on changed, but instead, she told me to ask you yourself. As expected of Sakayanagi. She doesn't want to reveal some unnecessary but confidential information about my past. Even though Ichinose was accidentally involved in my own personal life, Sakayanagi still respects my decision, so instead of answering the question herself, she let me decide on what to do with Ichinose. I will tell you, but the least I can ask for you, Ichinose, is that don't tell anyone about this. Okay? She nodded. I already decided that she would at least know the events that happened behind the scenes. The threat of the acting director has already been removed and I had already unwrapped the identity of the white rumor. But the future is still unknown, who knows that that man still has some cards left up his sleeves and the possibility of Tsukashiro reporting about Ichinose is quite high. So she might be exposed to some future danger if she's not careful. The white room should not be exposed, no matter what, or else all of his years of efforts will be in vain. He will surely eliminate anyone that poses a threat to the facility. I joined your group for the sole purpose of protecting you. I paused while staring at her steel blue eyes. Her eyes widened but didn't say anything. She patiently waited for me to continue. The events that happened after the day Ichinose informed me of the plan then slowly flashes back into my mind as I begin explaining to her bit by bit while carefully altering that sensitive information. Everything starts when we part ways at the starting point during day 9. Underneath the rising heat from the morning sun, a girl with lilac hair enjoyed her time, playing with her tablet while taking shade under the large beach umbrella. The moment our gazes made contact, Sakayanagi naturally shows her smug smile, then gestures to me to approach her. I wasted no time in heading to where she's at since I have an urgent business with her. Fortunately, no one familiar is present around the place, so I can openly express my motive without the risk of information leakage. When we were already an arm length away from each other, she greeted me first and I greeted back as well. "A pleasant morning to you, Ayanokouji-kun." She tapped the free space in the chair she's sitting at. However, I reject her offer because I won't be staying here that long for me to be required to sit. "Morning also, Sakayanagi. I have an important matter to discuss with you." Hearing that I don't have time for games, Sakayanagi puts down her tablet and her smugness becomes clearer than before. "The sun has just risen in the sky, Ayanokouji-kun. Fufu. Well, don't hold back." She gestured to me to cut to the chase. Ichinose overheard about Tsukishiro's plan in expelling me, but the worst part is, he mentioned the White Room. Upon stating the name of the facility, Sakayanagi's eyes flinched a bit but quickly returned to normal. "Oh my, that's quite a predicament, Ayanokouji-kun." She expressed her sympathy to Ichinose for being involved in my mess. I nodded in response, completely agreeing with her. However, considering that she still doesn't have an idea of how serious the situation is, Sakayanagi then continues. "How much does Ichinose-san know?" I then give her my honest answer. I'm confident to say that Ichinose only hears about the name. Nothing more, nothing less, but considering that she now poses a threat to the existence of the White Room, they can't afford to ignore her and will eliminate her if needed to. Sakayanagi interrupted me mid-sentence and expressed her own conclusion. "Yes. As the daughter of one of my old man's ex-subordinates and also visited the facility in the past, Sakayanagi has at least a rough idea of how completely hidden that place is to society. Children from unknown origin, harsh training regimen not fitted for the age of the subjects, cruel method to force any development in different aspects, caged-like rooms completely dyed in white, and then mercilessly throw away all of the failed test subjects. If the Japanese government will catch wind even a single information about any of those inhuman maltreatment, they won't hesitate to take the White Room down with all their forces. Not to mention that Ichinose is a part of your group. Who knows if Tsukishiro will attack them, endangering your spot in the exam since all of your members, aside from you, will be out of the game. You cannot do anything but be forced to retire, no Sakayanagi." My honest yet frank conclusion lights a fire inside Sakayanagi's eyes. There's still 5 more days left before the conclusion of the special exam, and no doubt that there will be countless opportunities to take the top 3 spots or better the first spot if they manage to survive till the last minute. That is why Sakayanagi cannot afford to be out of the game just because someone from her group got strangled in my own personal affairs. She chuckles lightly then said. "Foo. What an unlucky girl Ichinose-san is to be involved in your personal fight, Ayanokouji-kun." She paused dramatically and closed her eyes before continuing. "Then what do you propose? There is no way that you do the trouble just to share your thoughts about the matter, no?" As expected of someone like Sakayanagi, she at least knows how my mind works. I'd already taken measures of the danger of Tsukishiro. I agreed to go along with his plan in exchange for not involving Ichinose. Sakayanagi only listened to me while not breaking our eye contact. However, I don't trust that man and neither did he trust me. Not to mention that we didn't include the unidentified White Rumor in the negotiation. In other words, they can use them to attack her without breaking the agreement. Even if I did state such a loophole, I'm still uncertain that Tsukishiro will fulfill his part. Sakayanagi's smugness didn't fade in her face, giving me the idea that she is completely enjoying this. "That's why I propose to join your large group as the 7th member as compensation in case something will happen in the next few days. Shibata has the more people card, right? That should take care of the issue in merging our groups into one. Time is moving as we speak. I should gain Sakayanagi's cooperation fast, or else I will miss the early bird points in the first designated area." While I was thinking of other ideas to make her agree real quick, a soft but continuous chuckle slipped through her lips. Foo. I apologize for laughing, Ayanokouji-kun. She wiped the tears in the corner of her eyes. Then I guess I needed to at least change the original plan. I haven't heard of the plan between Sakayanagi and Ichinose, but if I try to connect a few dots of information in the past few days and the existence of the more people card, I can arrive at my own conclusion that they will use that certain card to the only solo student in Class B, Kanzaki. Unlike me, Kanzaki has been hoarding a lot of points in the past few days. That's why I have no choice but to step up my game, amassing more points than him, convincing Sakayanagi to choose me rather than him. Her response tells me that she's planning to reconsider. Are you planning for the top spot, Ayanokouji-kun? Her discerning gaze left no room for me to hide the truth. There is no need for me to answer, Sakayanagi. I confidently give my response without any hint of hesitation in my voice. Very well. You have a deal, Ayanokouji-kun. Sakayanagi forwards her arms, asking for a handshake to complete the agreement, which I gladly take. Aside from the large group that will be keeping tabs on Ichinose-san, I will also be assigning some small groups to surround them. I only nodded in response, telling Sakayanagi that she can handle it the way that she wants to. However, if I am completely honest, that is quite reassuring. I was about to let go when Sakayanagi wrapped my hand with both of her palms like she used to. Tell me, Ayanokouji-kun. Why would you go in such trouble in revealing more of your extraordinary abilities out in the open for that girl? If you can just silently watch her fate unfold in the sidelines like how you did to the rest of the children in that place. Most part of me completely agree with Sakayanagi's logical reasoning. By just leaving Ichinose and her group alone, letting Tsukishiro do what he wants to her as the consequences for her action. I can safely, although not that certain, evade his trap because of the fact that Ichinose took the trouble in telling me about his plan. Let bygones be bygone. As long as my safety is ensured, there is nothing more I can ask. To be honest, I only helped Ichinose in the past to gain her favor. I state nothing but the truth. Bufu, you're cruel. She appeared surprised even though I know that she's aware of my motives. Which is why I won't let them do what they please until she serves her purpose. I added pressure to my tone. Bufu, is it the same as saying that you cared for her, Ayanokouji-kun? Sakayanagi naturally shows her teeth while still having the clear smug all over her face. I didn't agree nor deny her. Bufu, you're still quite shallow in terms of understanding human emotions, Ayanokouji-kun. She added while freeing my hand. Anyway, I'm gonna send Hashimoto-kun in the middle of the night on day 13 for Ayanokouji-kun to join the group. I nodded, then turned my back to her and started heading into the deep of the forest. By the way, you slept together with her, no? There is no need to deny it to Sakayanagi. Yes. Bufu, seeing how you responded nonchalantly as if it's not a big deal, kills my mood in teasing you. Well then, let us meet once again when the cherry blossoms bloom, Ayanokouji-kun. Just after the clock moves to its very first minute on day 13. I then met with one of Sakayanagi's lackeys, Hashimoto, and merged into one group, according to plan. Because you risk yourself in telling me about the plan, although I somehow force you, Ichinose. This is the least that I can do for all your troubles. Ayanokouji-kun spoke as if saying that I'm asking for something in return. Why are you like this, Ayanokouji-kun? Even if you didn't threaten me that time, I was still planning on telling you about it because I'm truly worried about your situation. But the way you expressed it right now is telling me that my genuine feelings were misunderstood. You only thought that what I did was an act of service. It pains me, Ayanokouji-kun. I don't know about the details, Ichinose. But I'm aware that something happened while I was away, no? Aside from that time when I was being chased by the acting director and Shiba-sensei, another situation happened that I didn't want to believe that it's true. I painfully lowered my head, avoiding his gaze. He then held my shoulders with both arms and said. You didn't want to experience the same situation, no, Ichinose. That is why you should sever the connection with me for your own safety. The danger that I experienced that time then slowly flashes back like mirrors inside my head. The terrifying expression from a certain person that not in a million years I expected to have a hidden ominous side and ridiculous amount of envy. Kushida-san. That certain person was none other than Kushida-san. The time our group was attacked by a single first-year student, I was told to run by myself since I was the main target of the assailant. Upon remembering that Kushida-san was nearby in the forest, I hurriedly headed to her location without wasting any seconds asking for help in case she carried a communicator with her. Not minding my unstable breathing caused by the anxiety going back to myself ever since the time I accidentally involved in something that I shouldn't. I exhaustedly arrived at the spot where I last saw Kushida's GPS. I thought that she had already moved to another place, making my chest tightened. Heyu, Ichinose-san. But hearing a familiar voice calling my name, my hope quickly rises, meaning everything's gonna be alright. I turned my face to the origin of the voice, only to find an unfamiliar yet familiar Kushida running towards me. My mind was thrown into total confusion. This person is Kushida-san, right? But. Before my brain analyzes the danger I'm in. Something hard slammed on my cheek. Smacked. My face flew to the sides, and my body slowly fell to the ground as Kushida pushed me. The time I snapped back at reality, Kushida was already straddling me, raining me with constant slaps, while cursing me. Why? 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 Why does everyone still accept you while being a shoplifting bitch? Why did they trust you more, albeit having walked the path of crime? Why is everyone too kind to you? Well, they turned their back on me just for venting myself on the internet. Just why? No, it's more like Kushida-san cursed the world. I no longer have any more strength left over my body that I cannot do anything but to receive her continued attack. If because of my existence Kushida-san felt such extreme envy because of me, maybe my situation right now will help lessen the weight she has been carrying. But she's not the only person who has been fighting untold battles all this time. I also have my share of hurdles, and thanks to his help, I won one of my nightmares and continue moving forward. I hope that Kushida-san will also go through whatever she's dealing with in the future. Slap. 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 I close my eyes, surrendering myself to the hands of the person that is in front of me. Just when I already lost hope, a scream suddenly echoed around the place. Hiya. When I opened my eyes, I saw familiar faces of students surrounding the both of us. Kushida-san. What are you doing to Ichino-san? I think these students are from class 2A. Arg, shut up. My life is already over. Arg, I'm gonna drag you guys down. Kushida screamed to the top of her lungs, then stood up, releasing me from her grasp. Finally, I can now breathe normally. My eyes then exhaustively closed itself, and I completely fell into a deep slumber. After that, I don't know what happened next, as I was already in the cruise ship sickbay the time I woke up. I didn't give him a response and continued looking below. Ayanokoji-kun suddenly removed one of his arms from my shoulder. I thought that our conversation would be over without the two of us arriving at the same page. When suddenly I felt warm fingers lifting my chin. He forced me to make eye contact with him. Unlike last time, his eyes didn't show the terrifying gaze of him, instead those pupils that usually lacked motivation were unexpectedly full of concern. I'm neither righteous nor evil, Ichinose. I just want to protect the years I have left in this school. The years left now that he had mentioned it. I did hear about something called a white room from the acting director himself. Is that some name of a place? Does it mean when we will graduate from this school, Ayanokoji-kun will inevitably return to that place? I guess we will have to return to our home, then decide what to do next, whether we go to university or find a job. But if he badly wants to protect it, not to mention that some people are sent here to get him. Does Ayanokoji-kun don't have any freedom? Every time I knew something about the past of the student named Ayanokoji Kiyotaka, it ironically becomes more confusing and absurd. Just who are you really? I cannot protect you from those guys that are sent to take me forever. He paused and somehow averted his gaze from mine. Which is why I ask you again to cut your ties with me. My existence will only bring you nothing but harm, Ichinose. This time he completely let go and slowly turned his back on me. I don't know what kind of past you had, Ayanokoji-kun. I still don't completely understand why you can just cut off everything like nothing happened. I even know nothing about your relationship with Kushida-sen or the happenings behind the scenes. But I want to help you. I want to be by your side. I like you. I stretched out my arm, gripping the back of his shirt. I like you, Ayanokoji-kun. Let me know in the comments below if you guys want the next part. Also check out my other video that has been shown and left. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and share this video. And have a fantastic day. Bye.